He comes from a lineage of great sages, yogis, and saints from India. He began his spiritual journey at the age of 7 and was fully realized by the age of 14. During this time, he delved into different practices and acquired mastery over Tantra, Mantra, Yantra, Aghori practices, and Yaksha sadhana. He was a siddha, and many masters, saints, and sages used to visit him in solitude to gain wisdom and guidance from him since that tender age. Although he has been helping humanity since childhood, he never disclosed this part of him to the world, and only the advanced yogis and masters were aware of his divine presence. Only in the last 2 years he chose few people from the world and started guiding them in their spiritual paths, and those who have been closely associated with him have witnessed many miracles in his presence. Despite being a family person, he is a yogi and intends to help people entangled in this world achieve Jivan Mukti, liberation while being alive. He is truly in the world but not of the world, and if you really want to understand him, look him beyond his physical appearance and just sit with him, and you will never be the same again. In his presence you will transcend your body and mind and experience the state of Sat, absolute truth, Chit, pure consciousness, Ananda, eternal bliss. Let us fold our hands in front of his divinity and with a heart filled with gratitude and love welcome our spiritual guru, the realized soul, and our enlightened master, Guru Meenakshi Mishra.
Asato ma satgamaya tamasho ma jyotirgamaya mrityormamritam gamaya sarve santo niramaya sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Aham Brahmasmi. Good morning, everyone. Yes, if you can just let me know if my voice is clear to all of you. Okay, good. So welcome to another session of Satsang, where many people have been waiting for this, and yet many people know these stories. So the stories of Shiva and his avatars. So, and all these stories actually don't come from any Vedic literature, but they all come from the Puranas. So if you really go and look into the Vedas, there won't be any mention of any such thing. But all these things came into existence in the later part. जब पुराण लिखे गए तब ये सारे चीजें बन के आई. उसमें भी even in that there is a means if you go by Shiva Puran, it says 19 avatars. But if you go by Kurma Puran, it says 24 avatars. But when I was literally yesterday before fixing up this topic, I was thinking of doing another session called as the 33 crore or 33 types of Devi and Devatas. But the thing that happened is when I started writing the names, only when I wrote about the three Devas, Devis, and then I started writing about Vishnu. Vishnu, तीन प्रकार के विष्णु कौन है, उनके 24 अवतार कौन है, वो 24 अवतार के अवतार कौन है, ये करते करते जब मैं शिव तक पहुंचा, I started with Shiva, then Mahadev, then there all the other Isrupas, and then I went on with the 19 avatars. Then I started writing and I said, okay, so 52 avatars are also there. Then 64 Bhairavas are there. 64 Bhairavas into 3 are there. Then when I started writing that, I said, oh my God, it will take a year's time if I just keep on telling the name of those 33 crore gods. Because when they say like there is only 33 types, and I started writing, I crossed nearly 400-500 by that time when I just started. So I said, okay, let's give a break for it now. So I only took the 19 avatars of Shiva. I said, let me finish this at least. These people should have at least that idea. So today we'll be talking about those 19, all through small snippets or stories, whatever it is available. We'll bring that out, and yes, surely some secret behind that also. कुछ ऐसे रहस्य है जो उजागर होंगे, especially related to Nandi. That's what very few people know about. उसके थोड़े गूढ़ तत्व हैं जो जानना जरूरी है. So you people will be able to connect with that. So starting, as I said, like these are only available in the Puranas. But Puranas at what? Like in order to make you understand something better. So they wrote it in a story form. एक कहानी के जरिए, एक स्टोरी के जरिए बताया जाता है, so that everybody gets that. And वो connectivity बनता है, right? So when you start realizing the benevolence of some things, then you get connected with them. And once you get connected with them, you learn more and more about them. उनके बारे में जानने की जिज्ञासा जागती है, फिर आप उनको वेदों में अध्ययन करते हो. So these are just like the mind of a small little baby which does not understand what avatars are, but they understand stories. So might be we are all that today. कहानियों के जरिए उनके रूपों के बारे में जानेंगे. And when I woke up in the morning, like something was running in the head, and it just became like जो सबका करे उद्धार वो है अवतार. जो सबका करे उद्धार वो है अवतार. जो तुमसे करे प्यार वो है अवतार. जो आता है धरती पे बार बार वो है अवतार. जो करता है आपके शंकाओं को दूर और लगाता है भवसागर से पार वो है अवतार. जिसने बनाया ये संसार वो भी है अवतार. जो मेरे सामने बैठ के हंस रहा है निरहंकार वो भी है अवतार. जो मुझ में और तुझ में है विस्तार वो भी है अवतार. And it just continued, you know. I have not written it down, but it just continued like that. I said a good space to start with. कौन है अवतार? So I believe like जैसे कृष्ण कहते हैं ना यदा यदा ही धर्मस्य, मतलब जब जब धर्म की हानि होगी मैं बार बार आऊंगा. So it is not only when I look at all the stories that we have, it is not only when जब कोई धर्म की हानि होती है, नहीं कभी कभी लीला करने के लिए भी आ जाते हैं. कभी कभी अपने स्वरूप को दर्शाने के लिए भी आ जाते हैं. Like in order to just explicitly tell about his own rupas, he comes into play. Sometimes might be they look at you and you said, okay, so we should be there, people experience it. They come in that way. So हमेशा ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ और सिर्फ धर्म के उत्थान के लिए आते हैं, कभी कभी भक्तों के बुलाने पे भी आ जाते हैं. And that's what you will realize in the stories today that is there. Because when we say like क्या भगवान सुनता है, क्या भगवान आता है, and all these stories prove that एक बार नहीं 19 बार सुनता है. And not 19 बार, like if you go by 24 also it is there, 52 it is also there. And even there are, and we are just only talking about this realm. If we start talking about the parallel universes and their avatars, then you will be sitting here and with the only names only, you will be sitting here, ye kab hua, like. So we'll start with, and the sequence always like it does not have a sequence to it, because all the Puranas gave a very, very different sequence. So I just jumbled it up. I said, how does it matter who came first? All that matters to me, it came. Right? So it does not matter for that. So don't go by the sequences. However, if you really want to go by the sequences, we can do that, because based on the yugas, we can sit and we can segregate, okay, in this yuga, okay, so this yuga is the first, then this avatar should be coming first, then this should be second. And once I complete this also, so I will take another one of Vishnu's avatars. Avatar kitne tarike ke hote, then on that day when we speak specifically about avatars, then you will get to know like avatar kitne tarike ke avatar ho sakte. It's not one, it's not two. It can be many different kinds of avatars. So that is coming. But I believe like in the meantime, next Sunday, we'll be starting with the 9 days Sakti Sadhana. So might be after that. So शिव से शुरू करते हैं, दुर्गा की पूजा कर लेंगे, उसके बाद फिर विष्णु का. So a complete package हो जाएगा. So coming back to today's session, the first avatar that we'll be talking about is the Pipalad. Okay. So I see like Revati ji already started writing before even we started. So not sure. And still Aditi ji is also busy writing. So don't worry, if you want, I will just repost this document to you so that in a written form, so you people get that. But there is nothing to be forgetting about. खाली नाम याद रख लो, स्टोरी पूरी याद रह जाएगी जिस तरीके से मैं बताऊंगा. Okay. So let's see, there are 19 avatars, 19 stories. How many do we cover? So the Pipalad. पहला जो व्याख्या करने जा रहे हो है Pipalad का अवतार. In Pipalad avatar, Lord Shiva took birth as the son of Rishi Dadhichi. And when Pipalad was a very small child, कुछ उम्र ज़्यादा नहीं थी उनकी, due to the astral effects, मतलब especially शनि दोष था. So शनि दोष के कारण पिपलाद के पिता जो ऋषि दधीची थे, उनका मृत्यु जल्दी हो जाता है. So when he died early, Pipalad was very small, so he didn't understood what it is. But as he was already an avatar, he started more into these meditative practices and sadhana and all those things. He did all that. And later on, he came to know that because of the issue with the Saturn, मतलब शनि दोष के कारण उनके पिता की मृत्यु जल्दी हो गई. And by that time, when he realized that, he got fierce. And now you see in almost all the avatars, Shiva gets fierce. And he became very fearful and he gave a curse to Shani. Now, many of us have already listened to a story that when Shani started, Shani said, no one can be saved from my drishti, matlab vakra drishti jise kehte hain, the way he looks from the side. No one can be saved from that. And once even he ran behind Shiva and Shiva ran away, it seems. Many stories say that. Again, Puranas talk about this. Then I say, if Shiva ran away and he went into the underground for some time and after that he came out, I say then you should read the Pipalad story. let alone Shiva. Even an Ansh avatar of Shiva, as Pipalad, when he cursed Sanidev, he started falling from the realm. मतलब उनका जो स्थान था वहां से वो गिरने लगे. And when he started falling, all the cosmic disbalance started happening. And in that moment, all the devatas again went to Pipalad and asked for forgiveness and all those things. And then he took back his curse, but he said one thing. No one can ever be cursed, or no one can ever have a Sani dosha until he crosses the 16th age. तो 16 साल तक कभी कोई शनि का दोष नहीं लगता किसी के ऊपर. So that is because of what he cursed it. And now just think of somebody cursing and bringing a blessing at the same time. He cursed Sanidev, but what was the blessing that he got? The blessing he got is no one till the age of 16 will ever be having the kudrusti, जिसे कहते हो आप शनि की, उसके ऊपर नहीं पड़ेगा. क्योंकि इनके ऊपर कुदृष्टि पड़ा था, इसके वजह से इनके पिता की मृत्यु हुई थी. So he took that until a child grows to a certain age, because of Shani, their parents should not die. Now, can you see what is even the importance of having a child in your life? That at least 16 years of insurance is there, what I believe. At least from Sanidev. Now people are sitting and counting, but my children are more than that now. What about now? अभी तो बच्चे बड़े हो गए. It's not about how long you live, it's how you have lived, right? So if you have lived in this way because a single moment in realizing, a single moment of connecting with the divine, I believe that is worth. And we have all been here and we have all been going through that. So that was the small little story of Pipalad. Like a very huge, long stories are there. There will be, everything will be narrated. But as I said, I'm just taking the snippets because there are 19 to tell. So that was about the Pipalad. Then the next thing that we can talk about is the Brisabha. This Brisabha avatar has more to do with Vishnu rather than Shiva itself. And you see, our Puranas, when we read that, and many people interpret it in a wrong way, and they say, how can a god fight with each other? And here the story is very typical, because this story started because Lakshmi was arguing with Vishnu. Now some people say, अरे Lakshmi Devi अगर पति से झगड़ा कर सकते हैं तो हम तो कर ही सकते हैं. We get all the leeways, you know. And if she can do that, why can't we? But you should understand, first of all, become Lakshmi, or first of all, become Narayan, then fight. Because in your fight, when you fight in that way, you will do something good for others. यहाँ तो अपने पैर पे कुल्हाड़ी मार रहे हैं. Okay. So anyways, so ये story कैसे आता है? Like how this story begins is like one fine day, Lakshmi and Narayan are sitting, and Vishnu or Narayan, he's just thinking and laughing something. So Lakshmi asked, why are you laughing? He said, no, I'm just thinking about my beloved and I'm laughing with his thoughts. Lakshmi says, why are you closing your eyes? I'm sitting in front of you. I'm sitting in front of you. Why you have to close your eyes and laugh? You look at me, laugh. Then he laughs more. He says, ab kya hua? No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about my another beloved. Now just think of what would happen to you. Now Navni ji बैठे और हंस रहे और and then Preeti ji पूछते क्या हुआ? नहीं I'm just think of the situation. World में बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगा. So there he said, no, I'm not just thinking about you. I'm just thinking. अब वो कौन है? Who is that now? Now Vishnu says, oh no, I'm just thinking about Shiva. He said, so Shiva, where do you keep Shiva? Where do you keep me? The next question always appears, right? Then Vishnu says, one part of me, Shiva resides, the other part you. Lakshmi was still okay with that. He says, okay, anyways, Lord Shiva. Then the discussion continues. And she suddenly asked, who else lives there? And there the trouble started. He said, all my devotees, all those who call my name, all those who dance on my name, all those who sing on my name, all those just take my name, they all live in my heart. Now think of the case here. Lakshmi as a wife, she's thinking her position is shrinking. You got that? अरे मेरा जगह ही नहीं है, मेरे लिए तो जगह ही नहीं बचा, मैं छोटा छोटा जगह छोटा होते जा रहा है. In that moment what happens? He says, okay, very good, then go away from here, stay with your those people, those who take your name. We all do that out of anger, right? And in that moment, now you will understand what this entire story is all about, why he was laughing. This was another Leela that he had to come to the Bhuloka or the Patala Loka he had to go. Because in the Patala Loka, nymphs were there. Nymphs means they are celestial beings, but more of a negative energy with them. They were doing sadhana of Vishnu to have him as their husband. So they were doing an intense sadhana for a long, long time. And in order to fulfill their wish, he did all that drama out there. But what happens is, देखो ये अब इसके बाद हमारे पुराणों में इसीलिए बहुत confusion आ जाता है. They say like Vishnu came to the Patal Loka to fulfill their wish, to give them the boon. But when he was here, he forgot everything out of Maya. अब देखो, जो सब माया करता है वो माया में फंस जाता है. How is it possible? फिर इसी को सुन के लोग कहते देखो, स्वयं विष्णु माया में फंसते, हम माया में फंसने में क्या प्रॉब्लम? So people always find a leeway from that because they don't understand one thing, the story that has to be happened. Now, many of us, we have heard about the Samudra Manthan, right? And then we have heard that during Samudra Manthan, there were half of them were the demons and half of them were the devatas. But do you know, in order to make this happen, there should be equal amount of energy both the sides. Means देवताओं की शक्ति जितनी होनी चाहिए, राक्षसों की भी शक्ति उतनी ही होनी चाहिए. But there was a deficit at the Rakshas's end. राक्षसों के पास उतनी शक्ति नहीं थी. Then Vishnu, when he was in the Patala Loka, with them he had sons. Those sons became equivalent of the power, and that is how they were able to do the Samudra Manthan. Now, why did he went down and why he had sons there and why he stayed there is because they had to bring this entire drama into play of Samudra Manthan. But it is said like when Vishnu was there, he forgot everything, and those celestial beings, when they were asking for the boon, they said, you should be with us always. You will never return back anywhere. तुम हमें वरदान ये दो कि तुम हमारे साथ ही रहोगे, कहीं नहीं जाओगे. And during this, अब उनके बेटे तो हो गए. The power that was required for the Samudra Manthan is ready. But without Vishnu, how can the Samudra Manthan happen? And that is how, when all the other devatas tried, no one was able to bring Vishnu back. Because it is said that Vishnu was an illusion and all his sons became so powerful that any god, those who even tried to go there to remind Vishnu, they were not allowed. They were defeated. Utni shakti ho gayi thi. And thereafter, because they were in an egoistic form, then Shiva appeared in the another avatar to bring back Vishnu, that was known as the Vrishava avatar. He took the form of a bull and he went to the Patal Loka. And when he started walking, if you have might seen this, even in the serial, it was depicted very well. Because it is said like Vishnu has forgotten everything who he truly is. And when Shiva came as a bull and he started walking in the palace, by the sound of that, the sound of the bells that he was wearing, by that sound itself, Vishnu started thinking, what is this sound? Means that sound started making him realize who he is. And as he continued to walk, all the sons, those who were available there, they tried to stop them, fought with it, and he killed them all. Because they were overpowered by that time. So as much as were required were left out, and all the others were killed by him. And by the time when he entered, finally, Vishnu was, for the instant, was not able to realize him. He thought of fighting with him. The moment he took out his chakra to fight, that very moment Shiva took his own form. And in that moment, Vishnu realized. And even Ganesha appeared in that moment, and he took the promise away from those nymphs or the celestial bodies that, see, if you keep him with you, the entire creation will be destroyed. So allow them. And even those nymphs, they also understood that, and they freed Vishnu from their, like whatever they have asked for. And then Vishnu came back, and after that, the Samudra Manthan happened. Now, by the time I have told you the entire story, where did it all started? Just remember again. It started with Lakshmi Vishnu smiling, and Lakshmi asking. You see, like our Puranas kaise hai, if you pull, as I say, no, it is like a cobweb. If you pull one side, the entire net will fall on you. And I have told you in a very, very short form, because uske beech mein bahut sare cheezein hain. So, but at least just to get Vrishabh avatar kyun liye Shiv ne, so this is all the story all about in a very small form. Which Lakshmi? Now, Sumaji, you are asking, like Lakshmi came from Samudra Manthan. But what happened before that? Why did Samudra Manthan was done? Do you know that? Because एक बार लक्ष्मी कुपित होके समुद्र में चली गई, सारे देवता श्रीहीन हो गए थे, मीन्स विदाउट एनी वेल्थ और गोल्ड और एनीथिंग, एज यू से, वो स्टोरी अलग है. बिकॉज ऑफ दैट, एंड दैट इज वेयर, व्हाट डिड आई सेड, लक्ष्मी कुपित हुई और विष्णु को बोली तुम जाओ. उसके बाद वो कहाँ गई? She also dived back into the ocean. And that's where the entire drama started. Now you understood where was Lakshmi and why she came out of it. मेजर कारण ही समुद्र मंथन का था कि लक्ष्मी को बाहर निकाला जाए, दूसरा था अमृत को. So these are the two things that they started majorly with, but many other things came out with that, like all the Ratnas, Navanidhis, and all these things came out of that. So that was the story of the Vrishabh avatar. Then comes the Veerabhadra. Now my favorite. So everybody loves this, because the moment Hari Bhai plays that song, everybody says, oh my God. And we all know what Veerabhadra avatar is. So who wants to tell me that story? How did Veerabhadra came into existence? Because along with Veerabhadra also came Rudra Kali. So they both came from one strand of hair of Shiva, right? So we all know when Sati jumped into that fire, that very moment, Shiva got angry, and after that he took one of his matted locks, threw it on the ground, and two people came out. One was Veerabhadra, and then the second was the Rudra Kali. If you go and read the this particular part in Shiva Purana, it is mentioned in a very typical way. Very typical way means अगर कभी मौका मिले तो पढ़ना एक बार, or else अगर हमें मौका मिला तो we will do that part. You will see when we are talking about Veerabhadra, the power of Veerabhadra, what it is. Then many of us have forgotten something called as the Kshetrapalas. Kshetrapal, abhi bhi in the villages, the pujas and the worship is done for the Kshetrapalas. But especially in the towns and in the cities, they don't even know what a Kshetrapal is. In that, जब आप वो पुराण पढ़ोगे, जब प्रजापति दक्ष का वध के बारे में जो है, because at that time Lord Vishnu was along with Daksha, right? Because Daksha had the boon that whenever he needs, he will call Vishnu and Vishnu will appear and he will help him. Then if Vishnu was there, how could he be killed? Daksha was killed still, right? उसमें उसकी पूरी व्याख्या है. In that, the major part of the talkings was done with कौन-कौन गण थे उसमें, who all were there, who were fighting. दक्ष के तरफ से कौन लड़ रहा था, शिव के तरफ से कौन लड़ रहा था. So the main character we all know is Veerabhadra, and the second character, as I said, was Rudra Kali. The other characters were the Kshetrapalas. One place it is said like Vishnu threw the Sudarshan Chakra. And one of the Kshetrapalas or one of the Bhairavas was there who stopped the chakra in his teeth. उसने दांत में पकड़ के रोक लिया उस चक्र को. Now just think of the power of those beings. कि विष्णु के चक्र को दांत में पकड़ के रोक लेता and it stopped. So the entire story is magnificent actually. So we'll try someday to narrate the entire story. People who love war movies will be very fascinated about that. Okay. So Veerbhadra, and we all know like Veerbhadra appeared and he just destroyed everything out there, right? Because it was nothing but the pure sheer rage of Shiva. Now just think of when we come into a frenzy, when we come into that kind of rage, हमको जब गुस्सा आता है, हम क्या करते हैं? हमारे सामने जो आता है हम ध्वंस कर देते हैं. It does not think, but it just does it's like with one goal it has appeared. एक ही कारण से वो appear हुआ and it just went and we all know like दक्ष का बध करता है वो. What happened after that? जब दक्ष का बध होता है, I would like to narrate a little story deviated from that. I was talking like just last week when I was there in Vijayawada. So I was speaking about this story, especially what does that mean? जब शिव क्यों रोता है सती को देख के. So shall I narrate it a little bit like 2-3 minutes? Okay, because with that you will be able to connect so much with one specific thing about your own self. देखो, what happened when Sati jumped into the fire? Shiva became angry and at the same time he started crying, right? Now just tell me one thing, that Shiva didn't knew all this. And जो त्रिकालदर्शी है आभाजी, अगर वो त्रिकालदर्शी है तो क्या इनको ये पता नहीं था कि ये सब होने वाला है? और हुआ तो भी हुआ, और वो देवों के देव महादेव के देव. रोने की क्या जरूरत थी? Why he was crying there? And many people question the same thing. राजन जी, कई बार मैंने देखा है कि the youngsters come and say, what kind of God is he who is crying? वो कौन सा भगवान है एक अपने पत्नी के लिए जो पागल होकर रोने लगा? Then I say, because you people are not told the entire story, that's why you hear the half-baked stories and then you come into a conclusion. But do you know what all that things depict? वो क्या दर्शाता है? उस दर्शाने like the दर्शन शास्त्र को अगर पढ़ोगे तो उसमें जो चीजें बताई जाती है तब आपको समझ में आएगा why all this drama. And I will tell you one of my version that I understood. Okay, so it will be another way of understanding that. So कहते हैं कि सती अपने आप को जला दी. And then Shiva started crying. And then he carried the dead body. Right? वही हुआ ना? And then he was roaming around the world with the dead body. After that, Vishnu appeared. And then Vishnu threw the Sudarshan Chakra. And after that, Sati's body was cut into lokete. Like there are still going on of confusion. Like some people say 49, some people say 51, some say 52, some say 108. कितने खंड हुए ये पता नहीं है. Because उसको उनमें भी उनको भेद नहीं पता है. ठीक है, so that is another story. So now what should be the understanding from this, like why Shiva cried? Let's say, let us find out where Shiva is and who Shati is, who Vishnu is, what Sudarshan Chakra is, what the 552 body parts are. Shall we understand that? Shiva, jab Sati, she lost her life jumping into the fire. Why did she jump into the fire? Sati अग्नि में क्यों कूद गई? You can type it. Long story, na? Okay. Okay, Chidvilas is writing anyways. देखो, somebody said something, means दक्ष ने सती को, सती के बारे में नहीं कहा, शिव के बारे में कहा कि शिव ऐसा है, शिव वैसा है. See, so Daksh did means what do you call is disrespected. Yes, absolutely. So he disrespected Shiva and Sati. Now just think of Sati. If somebody has been with Shiva, she should have enough knowledge of all that, right? She should not be feeling bad when something is said. Now, Out of that, when she heard that disrespect, she felt bad. उसके बुरा लगा. And she felt bad, and out of that, how can you tell me like this? So, तुम मेरे पति के बारे में ऐसा कैसे कह सकते हो? And I cannot hear all this, I will jump into the fire. यही है ना? Now just take off your own situations. कि हमारे अंदर, like when we look at ourselves, are we all happy? Or at times we cry? At times we are worried. At times we say, अरे यार. और कहीं ना कहीं सत्यता देखा जाए तो आपके अंदर का शिव रो रहा है. The Shiva within you cries, yes or no? Deep down within, when you look at your own self, when you are worried, when you are looking at this world, when you feel like you don't have any power left with you, how do you feel in that moment? You start crying, you don't show it outside, you cry within. Right? Why? Because the Shiva that is within, it sees that Sati, that it is not understanding the true self of her. She is getting lost in the world. And because of that ego and anger and all those things, she is burning herself. And that's why Shiva is crying within you. कि आप हर बार सती अपने आप को भूल के दुनिया के चीजों में अपने आप को भुला देती है. उसके कारण उसे दुख होता है, विषाद होता है, सारे जितने दुख है उसको आने लगता है. तो आपके अंदर बैठा हुआ शिव रोने लगता है. Why? अब ये शिव शक्ति ऐसे कैसे कह सकता हूं कि ये अंदर शिव है, बाहर ये जो है वो शक्ति है? Now the question appears very simple. Who is that who is carrying this corpse? वो कौन है जो ये लाश को लेके घूमता है? Because जिस दिन वो निकल जाएगा, ये तो लाश ही है ना. The day it moves out, what is this body? This is a corpse. That means there is something else that is running this show. लाश को कौन लेके घूम रहा है? शिव लेके घूम रहा है. सती के बॉडी को लेके कौन घूम रहा था? शिव घूम रहा था. सो ये सती के बॉडी को लेके कौन घूम रहा है? Who is carrying this corpse? Shiva. Then where is Shiva? It is not where. Who is Shiva? Then that's your story you to think over, ponder over. क्योंकि आप अपने आप को सती मानते हो, आप अपने आप को शिव नहीं मानते. क्योंकि आप अपने आप को शरीर मानते हो, आप अपने आप को आत्मा नहीं जानते. क्योंकि आत्मा को जान गए तो परमात्मा को जान गए. Then what happens? Then Shiva is carrying the body and still crying within. यही हो रहा है ना हमारे जीवन में. वो लेके घूम तो रहा है लेकिन रो रहा है. Then what happens? After that what happens is then Vishnu appears. अच्छा, विष्णु क्या है? ज्ञान रूपी. वो किसी भी तरीके से आ सकता है, किसी भी तरीके के ज्ञान के रूप से आ सकता है. वो चाहे गीता के, भगवत गीता के रूप में आ सकता है, चाहे रामायण के गीता से आ सकता है, चाहे राम कृष्ण राधा के नाम से आ सकता है, या शिव के नाम से आ सकता है, कभी गुरु के हिसाब से आ सकता है, किसी भी रूप में आ सकता है. वो नारायण है. किसे क्या कहते हैं उसे? नर नारायण. ही गिव्स यू द नॉलेज. जो नर भी है और नारायण भी, जो आपको सत्यता का ज्ञान देता है, जो बोध कराता है आपको कि योर ट्रू नॉलेज. वो किसी भी तरीके का ज्ञान हो सकता है. वो प्रार्थना हो सकता है, वो भक्ति मार्ग हो सकता है, वो कोई भी मार्ग हो सकता है. और ये सारे मार्ग किसने बताया? जाके सब मार्गों का रास्ता कृष्ण ने बताया. इसीलिए जो मार्ग बताता है वो कौन है? वो नारायण है. अच्छा, उसके बाद उसने क्या किया? नारायण ने क्या किया? उसने चक्र चलाया. चक्र आपके अंदर भी है क्या? है ना? हाउ मेनी? मेजर 7, राइट? 7 चक्र. 7 चक्र. 7 क्यों? क्योंकि देखा जाए तो कहते कि 5 चक्र तक रास्ता है. 6th and 7th there is no path. उसको जंप करना पड़ता है. You can come to the Vishuddhi, but from Vishuddhi to the Agna you have to jump, and from Agna to Sahasrat it is much more typical. There is no path, there is no connection, you just have to jump. अच्छा, तो क्या हो गया? तो 5 तक पहुंचा जाता है. 5 और 2 मिले तो कितना हुआ? 7, राइट? और 5 और 2 मिले तो कितना? लाइक अगर साइड बाय साइड लिखा जाए तो 52. सती के कितने खंड हुए थे? because 5 are available, 6th and 7th are not there. 5 इसीलिए साइड में लिखा गया, 5 और 2, 52 pieces of sati. तो क्या होगा जब ये चक्र जागृत होता है आपके अंदर, when these chakras get activated, what happens? It distributes, it just blasts away that ignorance. And then what happens when you reach to the सहस्रार्थ? क्या कहते हैं? शिव से प्राप्ति होती है, मतलब शिवत्व जागता है. तब क्या हुआ? जब चक्र चला, सती के शरीर खंडित हो गए, तब शिव फिर जाग गया, बोला अरे what am I doing? Means when all these chakras went through your body and they gets activated, then the Shiva Tattva appears within you. And when that Shiva Tattva appears within you, ignorance of sati is gone. You are no more the body. You become the Shiva. यहाँ से आता है उसकी कहानी कि why there is so much of importance of चक्र जागरण within your body. ना बोलो सती कौन है, शिव कौन है, नारायण कौन है, चक्र कौन है, और शिवत्व तो किस में जागेगा? जनेश जी, वो जो 50 लेटर्स जो है वो तो मातृकाज है, वो अलग कहानी है, वो देवियों के नाम है, वो बीज मंत्र है, तो वो that are different stories in that. Okay, so coming back, I diverted a long way, but I believe like with that diversion also you will find your own self only. So as the story that you start with something but it has a meaning in a very different way, so you see all that. आज के बाद कभी कोई अगर बच्चा पूछता है कि अरे आपका भगवान क्या है जैसा रोता है, ऐसे भगवान है इसलिए रोता है. My God is all inclusive, not exclusive. वो रो भी सकता है, वो हंस भी सकता है. It is all inclusive. उसी बात ही जैसे मैं हंस भी सकता हूँ, रो भी सकता हूँ. I am all inclusive. I not the it. अगर मुझे तो डाउट होता अगर वो रोता नहीं, I would have surely doubted him if he would not have cried. अरे कैसा है रे भाई, भगवान है तू, कोई तेरा नाम ले लेके तेरे वजह से जल गया, तू उसके लिए भी नहीं रो सकता, कैसा भगवान है? ये सवाल होने चाहिए. भगवान क्यों रोया ये सवाल नहीं होना चाहिए. Now just think of somebody you really love or somebody really loves you and he won't cry for you. ऐसा ये कैसा रिश्ता है फिर? So I think my all inclusive, my God is all inclusive. That's why I take it in that way. कि रोना जरूरी था उसको. But in that crying, now just think of who is the Shiva, who is crying, who is the Sati, because of whom. And then what are we doing right now? What is appearing? And because of that, what will activate? And if that activates, what will you become? सब जुड़े हुए हैं. All that you see in your life, if you decode that, it is you only. और कोई है ही नहीं, सब आप ही हो. Right? चलो. So I diverted a long way, but Veerbhadra avatar, we all know after that, when he killed, after killing Daksha, he went back into the Himalayas and he started meditating again. ये जानते हो, वो अभी भी meditation में है. Because वो अगर फिर जागा, फिर ध्वंस करेगा. So now that was the third about the Veerbhadra. Then comes the another one that we all know as the Ashwathama. अश्वत्थामा को भी शिव के अवतार माना जाता है. अश्वत्थामा कैसे शिव के अवतार माने जाते हैं? क्योंकि because द्रोणाचार्य, the one who was the teacher of both the Pandavas as well as the Kauravas, for several years he did deep penance and sadhana to Shiva, and when Shiva appeared he asked for a boon that he should take birth as his son. Now just think of what kind of thought process someone must be having. ये कल्चर को देखो, जहां पे अलग अलग कल्चर में there are many stories that he is a messenger or he is a son of God. हम यहाँ कहते हैं कि हमारे ऋषि मुनि तपस्या करते थे, भगवान सामने आए तो उनको कहते तू मेरा बेटा बन जा, you become my son. Now what kind of faith, belief, power should be there? In that case, Dronacharya asked that you should take birth as my son. And Shiva says, Tathastu. And then what happened? Ashwathama was born. Ashwathama में एक अलग quality है. And he is again, as we all know, he is a Chiranjeevi, right? He's still there. Until this yuga is there, he will be there. उसमें एक खासियत थी, उसके थर्ड आई के पास there was a मणि, नागमणि, और मणि ऑफ नाग जिसे कहते हैं. तो नागमणि था जिसके कारण वो अभेद हो गया था, मतलब उसे कोई मार नहीं सकता. But we all know the entire story, how Krishna did all the drama and Aswathama was moved out from that place. But despite that, he almost cleared off the future Pandavas. So that was another avatar of Shiva. And literally, as we all know, like when the Kalki avatar appears, why these Chiranjeevis are still there? Because might be some people get frightened with that कि इसके बाद जो कली पुरुष आने वाला है, कल की अवतार नहीं, कली पुरुष जो आएगा, he will become a king and he will be so powerful and so gruesome. इतनी शक्ति और इतना ताकत होगा उसमें that in order to fight with him along with the Kalki avatar, there would be the appearance of Kali and all these 8 Chiranjeevi जो है, 8 Chiranjeevis will also fight along with them and they will demolish him. उतनी शक्ति होगी उसमें. And that is the reason all these 8 Chiranjeevis are still there. They are still gathering their power. They are still, see all these Puranas, when you read that, like said, Chiranjeevi अभी भी बैठ के तपस्या कर रहे हैं और ताकत जुगाड़ कर रहे हैं. Like from whom? But that's how the story is all about. So they are still there. So Aswathama was also a form of Shiva, who is a Chiranjeevi, and he came into existence by the deep sadhana and penance of Dronacharya. So after Aswathama, there would be Nandi avatar, one of my favorite ones. Now, Jo Shiv, wahi Nandi. Jo Nandi, wahi Shiv. How is it possible? Yeah, I'll tell you one simple thing जिससे आपको ये confirm हो जाएगा. जब आप शिव मंदिर जाते हो, when you go to the Shiva temple, every Shiva temple has a Nandi in front of that. What is the boon that Nandi has? Nandi को क्या आशीर्वाद दिया गया है कि जो उसके कान में बोलेगा, whatever you speak in the ears of Nandi, Shiva listens to that. What does that mean? मैं अगर आपके कान में बोलूं, आपको सुनाई देगा? नहीं देगा. Despite I take a phone, I am from a far off distance, but I'm speaking. You are listening in your ears. Directly, actually, I'm using a device, but I'm using that device to speak to you directly, right? So जब हम नंदी के कान में बोलते तो किसके कान में बोल रहे हैं? Shiva, because both are the same. But you have to understand a lot about Nandi. Nandi का मतलब क्या है बताओ? What is the meaning of Nandi? जो हमेशा आनंदित रहता है. जो हमेशा आनंदित रहता है उसे नंदी कहते हैं. मतलब आनंद शब्द से उसका जड़ आता है. नंदी. नंदी शिव का क्या है? वाहन है. राइट. वाहन का मतलब क्या है? 2 शब्द से बनता है ये संस्कृत के. वाहन. Whether you call it a car, cycle, bullet, motorcycle, whatever you call it, सबको वाहन ही कहते हो ना. बट वाहन का मतलब क्या होता है? वा मतलब वायु, हन जो उसे चीर के निकल जाए. The thing that pierces through air and takes you where you have to go, उसे वाहन कहते हैं. तो वाहन क्या है? The one that pierces through the air and takes you to where you have to go. For example, you are driving, whether it is a bike or a car, what is happening there? वाह का हन हो रहा है, नहीं हो रहा है, इसीलिए उसे वाहन कहते हैं. दूसरा बात, how did Nandi came into existence, and then we will realize certain elements that are required and क्या सीखना चाहिए actually नंदी से. So we all know that नंदी के अवतार के लिए उनके जो पिता थे शिलाद was a, उनको अलग अलग जगह पे अलग अलग तरीके से बताया गया है. In some Puranas it is said like he was a farmer. In some Puranas it is said he is a rishi. So whatever it is, it does not matter, because the one who can see Shiva, I don't discriminate whether he was a farmer or a rishi or a muni or a king or a beggar. I don't care about that. So what he did is, he as he was growing, Shilad, as he was growing in his age, his wife also died. And what one fine day struck him is, oh, I am going to die someday and my clan will get over. मतलब मेरा जो वंश है यही समाप्त हो जाएगा. But he thought that should not happen. My vansh should continue. Now his wife has already died. And now he didn't had any other option. He said, so let me meditate on Shiva. और ये माना जाता है कि वो हजारों सालों तक शिव का तपस्या किए. And when that happened, after that Shiva appeared. The best part that I love about that even though I have to wait for 1,000 years, Shiva will appear. So I don't see the 1,000 years, I see Shiva. So that's the beauty of it. That तू कब आएगा उसकी फर्क नहीं पड़ता मुझे. तू कब आएगा इसकी चिंता नहीं है. मैं तो इस बात से खुश हूं कि तू आएगा. I'm happy that you will come. I'm not worried that when you will come. No, I'm happy that you will come. So in this case, what happened? Shiva appeared and he gave the boon to Shilad, and he said, okay, so you'll get a son. And at the same time, Shilad said, वो दीर्घायु चिरंजीवी जैसा ही होना चाहिए. Then Shiva says, Tathastu. And then Shilad came back without having any idea how is it going to happen. So the very next day, he was in a farm and there he found a vibrant looking boy, child. And then when he went near him, he heard the voice of Shiva again, that this is your son, you can take him. And it is said like he was so vibrant like sun and at the same time powerful and all those things. And later on, he went back to, you all know, like he started doing meditation on Shiva, and then Shiva finally accepted him as his Vahana. And then what you should learn, see the bull. If you see any kind of animals, especially the strong ones, ox, then horses, even dogs, they are all used as Vahanas by us, humans also, right? कभी आपने किसी बुल राइडर को देखा है? मतलब जो बुल के ऊपर बैठ के घूमता है? नहीं हो पाएगा. If you go to this, especially where they do these bullfights and the cowboys, or what do you call that, Navneet? I just forgot that. Especially in the Mediterranean region and all those places, they do that, right? You know who is awarded? The one who is able to sit for 8 seconds on the bull is awarded as a winner. 8 seconds बैठ नहीं सकते उसके ऊपर, इतनी शक्ति है उसमें. So in this case, what you have to understand is Shiva has a control over it. Okay, so yes, in US it is called as the rodeos, right? So coming to this understanding, मैं क्या बताना चाहता हूँ? देखो, we all came to know that Shilad found Nandi in the ground. That means he has more of a earth element to him. उसके अंदर पृथ्वी तत्व ज्यादा है. पृथ्वी तत्व ज्यादा है तो उससे क्या क्या हो सकता है उसको? If somebody has that element of पृथ्वी तत्व, there will be few qualities. Qualities like he will be very, very stable. देखो, नंदी को अगर देखोगे, कोई भी बुल को अगर आप देखोगे, if he sits somewhere, he will sit like a sage. वो जहां बैठता है वो हिलेगा भी नहीं. उसको गाड़ी जाओ, धक्का मारो, हॉर्न बजाओ, वो हिलेगा नहीं. वो वहां का वहीं बैठा रहेगा. We are very known for that, right? In India, if somebody is sitting, nobody moves them. They take a detour and they will go. They say, नहीं, ये महाराज तो जाने वाले नहीं है. So you see that quality comes from the earth element to him. Because उसके अंदर वो पृथ्वी तत्व है, उसमें बहुत ही गहराई में, मतलब he will be very, very stable. And at the same time, very powerful also. जब गुस्सा आता है तो क्या करता है? सामने जो आता है उसे उठा के फेंक देता है. Does not matter whether it is a human, car, vehicle, or a tiger or a lion. So he has both the things. He is as stable as a sage and as fearsome as a warrior. इसीलिए वो गण में गिना जाता है. He can be sitting quietly and doing the seva of Mahadeva, और जब जरूरत है तब युद्ध भी कर सकता है. Okay, And then another thing that about that he will be attractive. कितने बार ऐसा हुआ है, आप शिव मंदिर जाते हो, उससे पहले नंदी के मूर्ति को देख के बता रहे बाप रे कितना सुंदर बना हुआ है यहाँ पे. How beautiful it is, because it has the quality of attraction, because that's the earth element has a pull towards it. Especially जब हम लोग अभी गए थे, what was that place? लास्ट टाइम जब गए थे तो वह नंदी का इतना बड़ा स्टैच्यू है, उसी को देख के लोग फोटो उठाने लगे, बोले यही सुंदर है. चलो ठीक. And Arunachalam, yes. And then it will be stable, it will be attractive, it will be gross minded. बैल बुद्धि कहते हो ना उसे. मूड है. क्यों? मूढ़ता धरती के साथ जुड़ा हुआ है, जड़ है. चेतना तब आती है जब वो धरती के ऊपर उठता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, ए रॉक लाइंग विद इन द सॉइल, वो क्या है? वो जड़ है, मूड है. लेकिन ए सीड जमीन के अंदर गया, वो तब तक भी जड़ था, लेकिन जब वो पृथ्वी से ऊपर उठता है तब तो उसमें क्या आता है? प्राण आ जाता है. राइट? तो क्या हुआ? जड़ से चेतना. मतलब जब तक आप पूरी की पूरी तरीके से धरती के साथ जुड़े हो, आप जड़ हो. जब धरती से ऊपर उठने लगे तब आपकी चेतना जागृत होने लगती है. नाउ यू अंडरस्टैंड वन ब्यूटीफुल थिंग अबाउट दैट. व्हाई ह्यूमंस हैव इवॉल्व्ड सो मच? वन रीजन, they were able to move on earth. Second thing, they stood erect. Means they were able to move further from the earth. पेड़ों के साथ, for the plants and the trees, the issue is they don't move, but humans move. And how do they move? They move erect, they move straight. Other animals, देख रहे हो, पृथ्वी से जितना दूर उठे उतना ज्ञान चेतना जागृत होती है, जितना करीब रहे उतना जड़. Why do you meditate? Why do you do all that? Because जब आप बैठ के ध्यान करते हो, आप अपने आप को पृथ्वी तत्व से दूर ले जाते हो. You take yourself away. What happens exactly when you do meditation? Do you see yourself stuck in the ground? Anyone? No. The very moment you sit for meditation, you will either see yourself flying somewhere, flowing somewhere, going somewhere, but you will never see as you are stuck in the ground. कभी हुआ है किसी के साथ? नहीं होगा, क्योंकि वो आपको ये पृथ्वी तत्व का जो जड़ है उससे बाहर ले जाता है. That's why meditation works. क्यों? क्योंकि आपकी चेतना जागृत होने लगती है. Understood why you meditate? Why you stood erect? Why you walk on the planet? ताकि आपके जड़ से आप दूर हो सको और आपकी चेतना की जागृति हो सके. And why we sit, we ask that you should sit straight with your spine, so that the cosmic energy that is falling, it will not fall on your back, it will fall on your Brahmarandra and your knowledge will grow. इससे इसीलिए जब भी आप ध्यान में बैठते हो आपको कहा जाता है कि you sit erect, keep your spine straight. Okay? तो ये थे कुछ, and at the same time as it is a gross minded and at the same time very powerful. लेकिन ये सारे चीजों को अगर आप देखोगे कि वो स्थिर है, at the same time it is very powerful, attractive, और साथ ही साथ जड़ है, लेकिन शिव उसकी सवारी करता है. मतलब if you really want to go beyond and experience your true self, you have to go tame all these qualities within you. आपके अंदर का ये सारे चीजों को आपको कंट्रोल में लाना पड़ेगा. यू हैव टू सिट ऑन देम. क्या क्या गुण है उसमें? वो बैठ सकता है. लेजीनेस, आज नहीं करते कल करेंगे, टुडे नहीं, नॉट टुडे, टुमारो विल स्टार्ट, टुमारो, फ्रॉम टुमारो आई विल डू द माला रेगुलरली विदाउट फेल. वो टुमारो कभी नहीं आता. दैट्स व्हाई आई बिलीव दैट द मूवी केम, नो, टुमारो नेवर डाइज. So I think like tomorrow becomes tomorrow again, tomorrow. So that's how it goes on. So वो क्या है? वो स्थिर होके बैठ जाता है. तो जड़ता के ऊपर उठो. That's how, like from the laziness, you should be coming to a state where you have a control over that laziness. दूसरा, अट्रैक्टिव. मेरा मन उसको देख के उसके पीछे भागता है, ये देख के उसके पीछे भागता है, वो खाना देख के उधर भागता है, ये शर्ट देख के उसके पीछे भागता है. So it is always attracted towards something or other. No, you have to bring that under control. ये दूसरा हो गया. तीसरा क्या है? शक्ति. ओ आई गॉट सो मच ऑफ पावर, आई शुड शो देम. मैं ना इतना सिद्ध प्राप्त कर चुका हूं, मैंने ना 1.5 लाख का मंत्र जाप कर लिया, मैं जो बोलूंगा वही होगा, देख संभल के बात कर, नहीं तो कर्स कर दूंगा, तो आई विल गिव ए कर्स टू यू. नहीं, द पावर्स आर नॉट देयर टू डिस्ट्रॉय, द पावर इज देयर टू क्रिएट. सो योर, आपके अंदर जो शक्ति है, उस शक्ति को भी आपको अपने कंट्रोल में रखना चाहिए, स्पेशली द एंगर पार्ट, राइट? So that is the third thing. And what is the another thing that was there about Nandi? It is gross minded. मूड बुद्धि, मतलब आपको जड़ से चेतन की तरफ जाना चाहिए, उसके ऊपर भी कंट्रोल होना चाहिए आपके. Then what happens when you go beyond ignorance, when you go beyond the falsified statement of power that you think yourself to be, if you go beyond all the attractiveness, if you means आपके कोई इच्छाएं या तो whatever things are attracting you, if you go beyond that, and if you have a control over your senses and laziness and all those things, and you can still sit like a sage despite having all the power, what do you become? आपके अंदर भी वो दिव्यता जागृत होता है, and that's how you become the quality, you get the quality of Shiva, because you have control that. तब क्या होगा? ये सारे चीजें जो आपको बंधन कर सकते थे, वो आपका वाहन बन जाएगा. मैंने कहा वाहन का मतलब होता है, वाह मतलब जो वायु का, हन मतलब जो चीर के चला जाए. मैं ये कहता हूं आपको अपना वाहन बनाना चाहिए, जो कि आपके कर्मों को चीरते हुए चले जाए. The one who will take you beyond your karmas, that should become your vahan, that should become your sadhana. Okay, so that is how this avatar of Nandi came into existence. However, stories are very, very long, as I said. But I am trying to put a new dimension to that, so that in every story you see yourself. कि उससे आपको क्या मिलेगा? मैं कहानी सुन के क्या मिलेगा मुझे? What will I get out of just listening the story? No, I will only learn something when it is connected to me, and then whenever I am sitting or I am just lazy someday, I'll remember what I have to do. Someday when my Shiva is crying within me, I will realize what I should do. I should understand this is not Sati. Shiva is carrying the body. I should realize that. Then the knowledge that is coming to me, I should realize, okay, ये विष्णु है, ये विष्णु रूप में, नर नारायण रूप में आके ज्ञान दे रहा है, चक्र चल रहा है, चक्र जागृत हो रहा है. I will realize my Shiva. See, everything will come back to the same things. कहानी 1000 सुनो, सब आप तक ही आएगा. And I know how to bring it to you. Why? मैं चक्र चला रहा हूँ, आप बैठ के रो रहे हो. मैं चला रहा हूँ, आप बैठ के रो रहे हो. मैं फिर चला रहा हूँ, आप फिर बैठ के रो रहे हो. मैं बोलता देखते हैं किसी दिन तो जागोगे. So that was about Nandi. नंदी से आप बहुत कुछ सीख सकते हो, जैसे समर्पण भाव, भक्ति भाव, कार्य करने के लिए तत्पर, सेवा में हमेशा निवृत्त, and always waiting. Nandi, if you have seen, you will see like all his 3 legs are almost on the verge of, like as if he is about to stand, right? सिर्फ एक ही पैर नीचे दबा हुआ है. तो क्यों बैठा है? He is ready to stand, just waiting for Shiva to appear. So ये सारे चीजें नंदी से बहुत कुछ सीखने को है. किसी दिन नंदीश्वर के बारे में एक कंप्लीट सेशन ले लेंगे. So we'll come to know much better about it. But was I able to add something new to that? The qualities of Nandi, that क्यों ऐसा है और उसके अंदर वजह से आपके अंदर क्या क्या चलता है. So now we'll move on to the next avatar, the avatar of Bhairava avatar. Wow, another favorite. Now we all know how Bhairava avatar came into existence, because recently we had a discussion about the Bhikshatana Shiva. You remember that story? क्यों भिक्षाटन रूप लेके उनको फिरना पड़ा. So the Bhairava avatar appeared when जब ब्रह्मा को ये अज्ञानता हो गई थी और उसने अपने आप को सर्वस्व मानने लगा. Means because of his ignorance, he started saying that I am the one, I am everything and all those things. And at that time, the Bhairava avatar came and with just a finger, it cut one head of Brahma. कोई अस्त्र नहीं, कोई शस्त्र नहीं, नाखून से ही काट दिया. And now we all know like what happened after that. उसके हाथ में ब्रह्म हत्या लग गया. So the head of Brahma got attached to his hands, and for 12 years he roamed around as a Bhikshatana. And after that, in Kashi, he got rid of that. And we told the entire story just recently, so I'm not repeating that. तो जब इसीलिए उस काशी को मुक्ति धाम भी कहा जाता है, मुक्ति का मार्ग कहा जाता है, जहां पे आपका कैसा भी दोष हो वहां से आपको मुक्ति मिल जाती है। और इसीलिए कोई कुछ लोग हैं जो मतलब हर 3 महीने में भाग जाते हैं वहां पे, मतलब कितने पाप किए होंगे समझ में नहीं आता। या तो ज्यादा प्यार है या तो पापी हैं, ये दो में से कुछ एक ही हो सकता है। अब क्या है उन्हीं से पूछ लेंगे हम कभी बाद में। तो दैट्स हाउ इट इज। सो ये रूप था उनके भैरव के रूप का। सो देन कम्स द सर्वावतार। ये सर्वावतार इट्स अ वेरी टिपिकल स्टोरी, and this story again is more related to Narayan than Shiva. Do you know how Sharva looks like? Sharva का फोटो कभी देखे हो आप? So some people might have seen, some people might not have. सर्वावतार कैसा है? It is part lion, part bird. अब याद आएगा आपको, कई जगह पे आपने देखा होगा। It is part lion, part bird. अच्छा, ये अवतार क्यों हुआ? ये अवतार नरसिंह अवतार को शांत करने के लिए हुआ। When नरसिम्हा killed हिरण्याक्ष, ओके, हिरण्यकश्यप का जब वो वध करते हैं, and he drank that blood, he became very very fearsome. Why? Because he drank the blood of a demon. तो उनका जो क्रोध था वो और भयंकर हो गया, and it started destroying. And no one was able to control him. All the devatas, devis, they tried, but no one was able to control him. And in that time, Shiva took the avatar of the Sharva avatar, who was part lion and part bird. And then he came, and it is said like there was a fight between Narasimha avatar and Sharva avatar. Means the fight between Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. And in that moment, what did Shiva did is, in the tail, he wrapped Narasimha. Now just think of the people, those who only think of Narasimha avatar, they will just throw some stones at me. But that's what the Puranas say. आप जाके पढ़ो उसको। ये कहा जाता है कि उसने उसको अपने पूंछ से लपेट दिया। And when he tied him up, and then in that moment, Vishnu came into his awakefulness again, and तब वो शांत हुए। उसके बाद शांत रूप के जो नरसिम्हा अवतार है वो दिखाई देने लगे। Have you seen? There are 2 kinds of images of Narasimha. One, Narasimha Lakshmi avatar, and one the fearsome Narasimha avatar. Fearsome Narasimha avatar जो है उसमें आप देखोगे his fingers will be dipped into the belly of Hiranyakashipu, and he will be like half sitting. He will not be sitting neither standing, half sitting like वो उग्र अवतार है। इसलिए उसको उग्रवीर का जो आप जो गाना सुनते हो ना, उग्रवीरं महाविष्णु, that's where that is indicating that particular mantra is for ugra rupa of Narasimha. And there is another one, Shanta rupa of him where it is called as the Lakshmi Narasimha. लक्ष्मी नरसिम्हा जहां नरसिंह बैठे हैं, उनके पीछे उसके शेषनाग है और उनके वाम भाग में लक्ष्मी विराजमान होती हैं। वो शांत स्वरूप होता है, वो होता है the second avatar. Means after the Sarada avatar actually calmed him down, that very moment he was sat on a crown, and there Lakshmi sat, and that is where, because of which Shiva has to take the Sharva avatar. A very small story. So, but here again people come back to one thing. Oh, so that means Shiva is more powerful than Vishnu. I said, तुम खाली उसी के पीछे पड़े रहो, किसके पास ज्यादा ताकत है, किसके पास ज्यादा पैसा है, किसका घर सबसे लंबा है, किसकी गाड़ी लंबी है, इसी के पीछे पड़े रहो. You don't see the leelas these people do. You are only looking at one aspect of it. Why do you only get lost in that one aspect? That means somehow, somewhere you are lost. So realize all this part, because Shiva himself says this, that whoever discriminates between me and Narayan, वो नरकगामी होगा. Because there is no difference between me and him. और कुछ लोग परेशान हो जाते, पहले ना हमको ना नारायण बड़े पसंद थे, अब शिव बड़े पसंद आए. कहीं नारायण तो गुस्सा नहीं हो जाएंगे? अरे इसीलिए वो कहते हैं कि अगर आप नारायण से शिव के पास जाते हो तो ये माना जाएगा कि तुम उनके इष्ट के पास गए, अगर शिव से नारायण की तरफ मूव करते हो तब भी वही कहा जाएगा कि तुम उनके इष्ट के पास गए। इष्ट का मतलब क्या होता है? इष्ट का मतलब होता है जिन्हें वो चाहते हैं। द मोस्ट मीन्स द पर्सन दैट दे लव द मोस्ट। तो आप किसकी के पास जाओ, इधर जाओ या उधर जाओ, किसको क्या फर्क पड़ेगा? बिकॉज बोथ आर द सेम। माइट बी बिकॉज ऑफ द गुणस दे अपीयर डिफरेंट। एक राजसिक गुण से बना हुआ है, दूसरा तामसिक रूप है, लेकिन वो तामसिक रूप इट्स नॉट ए नेगेटिव रूप। जैसे कहते हैं ना कि विष्णु को आडोर मीन्स ही डेकोरेट हिमसेल्फ वेरी वेल। उन्हें आभूषण पसंद है। आभूषण प्रिय विष्णु, जल प्रिय शिवा। Right? So one is happy with water, the other is okay, Lakshmi is good. So whether you took this path or you take that path, means despite you living like a king in this world and yet being a sage, still you can find your way out. Or you are being like a sage and yet happy with everything and yet thinking about Vishnu, you can still get a liberation. चाहे आप योगी बन के विष्णु के बारे में सोचो या राजा बन के शिव, मोक्ष दोनों से ही मिलता है. And that's why I say you should be the best here, you should be the richest here and the richest there also. And that's where all this concept comes. People कभी कभी कहते हैं ये धनाकर्षण भैरव, स्वर्णाकर्षण भैरव, फिर लक्ष्मी की पूजा, इतने सारे धन के लिए क्यों कराते हो? अरे भाई दोनों एक ही है हमारे लिए, ऑल इंक्लूसिव नॉट एक्सक्लूसिव. हमारा भगवान गरीब भगवान नहीं है, हम यही बोलना चाहते हैं. हमारा अमीर भगवान है और हम भी अमीर है, इसलिए जिनको नहीं समझ में आता नहीं आता. So that was the सर्व अवतार. Then comes the गृहपति. गृहपति की कहानी बहुत छोटी सी है. There is no much mention about गृहपति anyways. In this there was a when you sing the song of Shiva, you at times you sing like Vaishwanara Lochanaya. You heard that, right? आप जब स्तुति करते हो वैश्वानर लोचनाय, that particular word comes there. ये रूप आता है किधर से? Like गृहपति का जो स्वरूप था, उनके जो there was a Brahmin जिसका नाम था वैश्वानर. ही वो नर्मदा के तट पे रहते थे और उनकी पत्नी जो थी सुचिस्मति. उनकी जो पत्नी सुचिस्मति थी, उनके अंदर एक तीव्र इच्छा थी कि वो शिव को अपने पुत्र की तरह प्राप्त करें. Because you see, like all these stories, basically when Shiva has taken birth, it has already always majorly it is because everybody thought to have Shiva as a son. अच्छा सोचो, सच में अगर शिव आपके घर में पैदा हो, संभाल लोगे? क्योंकि देखो वो शांत नहीं है, गुस्सा भी है उसे. Is very very aggressive at the same time. So मैं वही कहता हूं कि शिव का जो प्रार्थना करते हो ना, बहुत सारे लोग शिव की प्रार्थना करते हैं, व्रत करते हैं, 16 सोमवार करते हैं, स्पेशली पुत्र प्राप्ति के लिए या फिर संतान प्राप्ति के लिए. तो मैं उनको एक ही चीज कहना चाहता हूँ, जब भी प्राप्ति तो मांगो, लेकिन एक चीज कहना कि भाई शांत अवतार में आना, गृहपति के स्वरूप में आ. सो दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. जब आप ऐसी साधनाएं करते हो तो वहां पे जब आप मांगते हो तो उनको ये कहना कि गृहपति के स्वरूप में, क्योंकि गृहपति का जो स्वरूप है बहुत शांत स्वरूप है. अब पता चला बटुक मांग लिए, आएगा लेकिन हाथ में खड़ग लेके घूमेगा फिर. Then it will be more dangerous for you. So you should know what to ask, what not to ask. So यहाँ पे क्या हो गया? So सुचिस्मति जो थी, she wanted that, she has a very deep desire that she should have Shiva as his son. Now just think of, कई सारे लोग मुझे ये पूछते हैं कि we still have the desire. Is it okay? कि भगवान को प्राप्त करना वो भी तो एक डिजायर है ना. It's still a desire that I should find him, I should get him, I should get a glimpse of him. या तो मैं उसके जैसा बन जाऊं, ये भी तो डिजायर ही है ना. But can you see all these desires, the stories that we are narrating right now, अदिति जी, उसमें भी वो वही कह रहे हैं ना कि किसी का डिजायर था कि वो उनके घर में उनका पुत्र बन के पैदा हो. So what happened? Shiva took the birth in their house. लेकिन अगर शिव आपके घर में पैदा होता है तो आपका मोक्ष होगा नहीं होगा? होगा ना? अच्छा ठीक है, घर में पैदा हो ना हो, आपके अंतरात्मा में अगर शिव पैदा हो जाता है, आई थिंक दैट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट। घर में पुत्र पुत्री बन के पैदा हो ना हो, मेरे अंदर पैदा हो जाए वही काफी है मेरे लिए। दैट इज इनफ फॉर मी, आई बिलीव। सो वॉट एवर, जब भी प्रार्थना करते तो कहना कि भाई मेरे अंदर ही पैदा हो जा तू, यू अपीयर अगेन इन मी एज अ चाइल्ड, एंड आई थिंक दैट वुड बी एन अमेजिंग स्पेस टू बी, राइट? सो उसके बाद जो सुचिस्मति है, शी आस्क्ड हर हस्बैंड दैट दिस इज माय डीप डिजायर, एंड टू फुलफिल द डिजायर ऑफ द वाइफ, वैश्वानर केम टू काशी। और काशी के जो शिव है उनके सामने बैठ के प्रार्थना करने लगे, एंड ही डिड डीप मेडिटेशन एंड पेनेंस, एंड बहुत सारा तपस्या किए। एंड वन फाइन डे शिवा अपीयर्ड। ओ, सो नाउ आई रियलाइज व्हाई पीपल गो टू काशी। Might be they are sitting in front of the Shiva and asking him that you appear, you appear, you appear. Because in this case, finally Shiva one day appeared and he gave the boon to Vaishwanara that, as you say, I'll take the birth in your home. And he fulfilled the wish. And Shiva in that moment decided to take birth from the womb of Suchismati. And that avatar is known as the Grihapati avatar. Because he took especially womb to take birth. और इसीलिए हम जो गृह का स्वामी होता है उसे भी गृहपति कहते हैं। मीन्स द वन हु इज इंटेलिजेंट, द वन हु हैज द पावर एंड येट हैज द नॉलेज ऑफ शिवा, उसे गृहपति कहते हैं। मीन्स द वन हु इज एबल टू रन द एंटायर फैमिली विथ in the best possible way. From this name comes the name as the Grihapati. जब हम किसी को गृह का स्वामी कहते हैं या तो गृहपति कहते हैं, this name comes from there. Then comes the another one, सबको बड़ा बड़ा प्रिय लगता है ये, दुर्वासा। इनका नाम से ही पता चलता है कि क्या है, मतलब जिसका भाषा ही खराब है वो दुर्वासा है। Now let me divert a little bit but bring a very very important knowledge to you. हमारे जो कर्म हैं किस तरीके से बनते हैं? पहला है जिस तरीके से हम किसी भी कार्य को करते हैं, वो that is the first thing, the karma. The second type of karma that we should be very very careful of is what we speak. क्योंकि इससे बहुत ज्यादा कर्म बनता है। आप बोलोगे इससे कर्म कैसे बन सकता है? नहीं, देखो, इसी के जरिए आप भगवान का नाम ले सकते हो, इसी के जरिए आप गाली दे सकते हो, तो कितना बड़ा कर्म हुआ देखो। That when you are taking the name, you use this. When you are cursing something, you use it. You are saying something good to someone, you use it. When you are saying something bad to someone, you are using it. कर्म किससे बना रहे हो बताओ? Through your speech. And you see, when someone really starts saying bad about especially the gods or sages or saints, आप देखना, that person's life will start deroding, मतलब degrade होना शुरू हो जाता है उनका। क्यों? क्योंकि ये मुख से तभी खराब चीजें निकलती है जब आपके अच्छे कर्मों का क्षय होने लगता है। So why do we keep on chanting the name of Krishna, 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 Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna? ये मंत्र सब क्यों करते रहते हैं? नाम जाप का महत्व क्या है? नाम जाप का महत्व यह है क्योंकि आपके वाणी मात्र से उससे भी आपके कर्म बनते हैं। तो जब आप किसी देवी देवता का नाम लेते हो, किसी मंत्र का जाप करते हो, तो आपके अच्छे कर्मों में वृद्धि होती है। दैट इज द मेन रीजन कि कली काल में नाम जाप को क्यों इतना महत्व दिया गया है। The reason is it is very easy for us to talk ill about people. It is very easy to talk ill things, ill words, bad words. लेकिन अगर हम अपने आप के अंदर वो जाप को कंटिन्यू रखें, किसी देवी देवता का नाम को जाप करते रहें, तो हमारे मुख से खराब चीजें नहीं निकलेंगी, जिसके वजह से हमारे कर्म बुरे नहीं होंगे। गॉट इट? सो दूसरे तरीके के कर्म कैसे करते हो? जब आप बैठ के किसी की चुगली करते हो तो क्या कर्म कर रहे हो वो सोच लेना, और जब बैठ के किसी मंत्र का जाप करते हो या किसी देवी देवता का नाम लेते हो तो क्या कर्म कर रहे हो वो आपको अब समझ में आ जाना चाहिए. बिकॉज मेनी ऑफ अस वी आर अनअवेयर दैट वी आर डूइंग अवर कर्म थ्रू अवर स्पीकिंग, इसलिए कुछ भी बोलते रहते हैं. सो अब से क्या बोलोगे? इट्स अप टू यू व्हाट यू चूज. मुझे मेरा काम इतना था आपको बताना, so that the next time when you start speaking, no God will judge you, you will judge yourself. अरे क्या बोल रहा हूँ, shall I speak this or not? क्या होगा? Then you will always start speaking good things, and when you start speaking good things, what happens? Won't good things happen to you? और डोंट वरी, यहां नहीं वहां तो हो ही जाएगा, तो डोंट वरी ऑन दैट पार्ट. सो नाउ मृदुल इज इन ए फिक्स. फिर जो आदमी काम नहीं कर रहा उसे बात कैसे करूं? उसका मार्ग बता देता हूं. कर्म का कर्ता बन के मत करो. Again the realization that you are not that, and if you realize that you are not that, then what karma, what words, what speaking? But in that moment also, what I am saying is, whether you are speaking and watching your voice, watching your words, that also you are becoming conscious in that moment. And even if you are thinking that I'm not the doer and just I have to do this work, then also you are in your consciousness. You are not unconscious any moment. And when you are absolutely conscious every moment of your doings and not doings, are you not getting free of your karmas? Are you not realizing your true self? Are you not being in the now? Where is God? In the now. अभी है, कल नहीं था, परसों नहीं होगा, आज है, अभी है. So right now, when I am becoming the witness of everything, how are you becoming the witness of everything? Now I will see what I am speaking. I became the witness. No, I'm doing something, yet I know that I'm not the doer. I became the witness. So क्या कहते हैं? साक्षी भाव आ जाना. The moment you become that, you have that quality of witness. What happens? You are free of your doings. फिर भी मुक्ति है. आसान है, मुश्किल है? देन बोलोगे दोनों है. मुश्किल इसलिए क्योंकि कंट्रोल नहीं है, आसान ही इसलिए क्योंकि किया जा सकता है. With a little awareness, you can bring that quality within you. Possible है, नहीं है? And that's where I say it is important to be careful even with your words. So आपकी वाणी के ऊपर आपका कंट्रोल होना चाहिए. देखो फिर हम कहां से कहां चले गए. And what to do? Whatever appears, I just tell. शायद आपको आज ये जानना था, सो लेकिन हम बात कर रहे थे दुर्वासा ऋषि की. तो मुझे लगता है वो कोई और नहीं, सब यही है. वो कहते हैं ना कि अगर स्वर्ग कहीं है तो यही है, यही है, यही है. तो जब हम आपको देखते हुए, आई लुक एट यू, आई लुक एट माई सेल्फ, से दुर्वासा यही है, यही है, यही है. बट what you are becoming, you, despite he being that, he was still a sage. और वो विष्णु के अवतार, सॉरी, शिव के अवतार है. लेकिन दुर्वासा का जन्म कैसे हुआ? It has a very typical story. The typical story is he was the son of Atri and Anusuya. अनुसुया और अत्रि के पुत्र थे. लेकिन एक बार क्या हुआ, once there was a fight between Brahma, and it is not fight, it was an argument, actually a heated argument between Brahma and Shiva. And this heated argument became so violent that जितने भी देवी देवता थे वहां से भाग गए. They started running away because they saw like Shiva is getting angry right now, और उसके सामने जो रहेगा वो गया. No one knows where he looks and it is gone. So everybody fled away from that. And when everybody started fleeing away, Shiva could realize that how angry he has become, and from that a ball of fire appeared. And in that moment he realized that, oh, that is too much of anger. उनके अंदर का वही शिवत्व. And then at that moment, what happened is that anger of fire, the fire of anger, that was given to sage Atri and Anushya, because they said, we are ready to accept even in that form. You are ready to accept your anger in that form. Now देखो भक्त क्या होता है, वो कहता है कि प्रभु आपको जलने की जरूरत नहीं है, हम आपके बदले जलने को तैयार है. You give that anger to us. And when Anusuya told that and she accepted it as her own self, a child was born, and that child was known as Durvasa. And because it was born out of anger power of Shiva, he had that quality of easily getting angry. हर एक छोटे से चीज में गुस्सा हो जाएगा और श्राप दे देगा, गुस्सा हो जाएगा श्राप दे देगा, गुस्सा हो जाएगा श्राप दे देगा. Then some people will be very happy. Especially the people, those who keep on shouting, scolding and all this. Oh, मैं दुर्वासा अवतार हूं. नहीं, दुर्वासा अवतार, whatever he spoke, whatever curse he gave, everything had a reason because of which something good happened in creation. अब तो मैं भी वैसा ही हूं, मैं बोल देता हूं, बाद में लोगों को समझ में आता है. वो अच्छा हुआ ना घर में. Now they will go and keep a new tagline on themselves as a Durvasa avatar. So be careful. वो लिखते ना घर के सामने, be aware of dogs. And one fine day, Deepika ji, I was there and I saw क्या लिखा है जानते डोर पे. I don't know grammatical error था या उसको पता नहीं था. Dog inside, be aware. मालिका के दरवाजा खोल रहा है. I said, ये बोर्ड किसके लिए है? And funny thing, Sumaji, there was no dog in the house. लेकिन बोर्ड लगा हुआ है डॉग इनसाइड. बस आप ही की तरह मैं हंसता रह गया अंदर ही अंदर. I laughed at a high decibel so that they don't know. लेकिन महान है, अपने आप को मान लेते. तो ऐसा ही करो, घर के सामने एक लगा तो दुर्वासा अवतार बोल के. So people will be aware before they speak to you. So because he came out of that energy, that was anger energy, this avatar, despite being a sage, he was so violent. Okay, so ये था दुर्वासा अवतार. दुर्वासा अवतार के बाद आता यतिनाथ. यतिनाथ की कहानी. ओके, ये एक ट्राइबल स्टोरी है. देयर वाज ए tribal man whose name was Ahuk. Ahuk was actually, ये mention है कि that this tribal person was from the Vedic time, वो period का है. And Ahuk and his wife were ardent devotee of Lord Shiva, मतलब शिव के बड़े भक्त. One fine day what happened is, Shiva, because they were the ardent devotees of Shiva, Shiva one day appeared in their home as a human. वो अपने आप को यतिनाथ के रूप में प्रकट करते हैं, and he appears in their home to test them. परीक्षा लेने के लिए आ गए. Then he goes into their home and he says, I have to stay here in the night. And when he was there, the hut, because they were the tribal people, the hut was very small. And as the hut was very small, Ahuk and his wife, they said, they fed him whatever they had. And then they said, as you have to stay back in the night, only 2 people can live in that room. So Ahuk decided that he will sleep outside the hut and allowed his bed for Yatinath to stay. But a sad thing happened is when Ahuk was sleeping outside, then a wild animal came and killed Ahuk. क्योंकि Ahuk बाहर सो रहा था, रात में कोई wild animal आके उसे मार देता है. And when in the morning his wife came to know that Ahuk has been killed, she also went off to kill herself. But in that moment, Shiva appeared in his true self and he said, don't worry. Even if, is my voice still coming or it got stuck? Okay. So then Shiva appeared and he gave the boon to Ahuk as well as his wife that because of the hospitality that you have given me, and you are even ready to give away everything that you have, I bless you that in the next life you will take birth in a kingly palace, in a royal family as Nala and Damayanti. So ये नल और दमयंती की कहानी भी बहुत सुंदर कहानी है, तो किसी दिन उसके लिए भी व्याख्या कर देंगे हम. सो इस स्वरूप में जब शिव उनका परीक्षा लेने के लिए, when he took this avatar, it is known as the Yatinath. Then comes the most favorite of all, the 11th avatar. ये 11वां रुद्र अवतार कौन है? हनुमान. अच्छा, हनुमान कैसे पैदा हुए बताओ? What is the story of birth of Hanuman? How many of you know it? Please raise your hand. नहीं, सबको पता है वो अंजनी और उसके पुत्र है, लेकिन फिर शिव के अंश कैसे हुए वो? अच्छा, सो आदित्य जी knows that. Okay. Deepika ji also knows that. Okay. Okay, so 2 ही लोग जानते हैं. अरे इतने साल से हनुमान की पूजा करते जा रहे हो भाई, लाल सिंदूर के ऊपर सिंदूर, पान पत्ते सब चढ़ा रहे हो, वो कहाँ से आया यही नहीं पता. मुझे तो स्टोरी. ओके, चलो ये बड़ी अजीब कहानी है, लेकिन वेरी वेरी टिपिकल स्टोरी. द टिपिकल स्टोरी इज, जब समुद्र मंथन हुआ, when the samudra manthan happened, and after that we know like the elixir of life, मतलब जो अमृत है निकला, उसके बाद we know like in order to distribute that, Vishnu took the Mohini avatar. And in that time क्या हुआ था, शिव गरल भी पी लिए थे, because he took the poison also. He was really fierce at that time. But when he looked at the Mohini avatar of Vishnu, then he got calmed down. But by just looking at him, a fire of energy came out of Shiva. कई सारे जगह पे एक अजीब चीज लिखी गई है जो सत्य नहीं हो सकता मेरे हिसाब से. कहते हैं कि मोहिनी को देख के शिव का वीर्य का गिरा, और वो वो नहीं है. दैट इज, शिवा इज नॉट समबडी लाइक ए ह्यूमन कि कोई भी सुंदर चीज को देखे और गिर गए. नॉट लाइक दैट. सो इन दिस केस इट इज सेड ए बॉल ऑफ फायर केम आउट ऑफ हिम. इट इज नॉट लस्ट, इट इज नॉट डिजायर्स फायर, it is just a fire that came out of it. And I believe like that was another way why, like what actually calmed Shiva down, because उन्होंने गरल पिया था. He was so heated up at that time, and when he saw that calm quiet swarupa of Vishnu, that very moment a fire, means the fire that was the heated fire that came out, and that fire was preserved by the rishi and muni out there. उन्होंने क्या किया, उस अग्नि को एक पत्र के ऊपर, मतलब एक पत्ते के ऊपर उसको रखा और उसे लेके अंजनी को दिया, और अंजनी swallowed that fire. And when she swallowed that fire, then this rupa of Hanuman appeared, and that's why उसे रुद्र का 11वां अवतार कहते हैं. And you just think, how can it be fire that came out and not anything else? Because we all know when Hanuman was a small little baby, he was hungry and he jumped to eat the sun, और वो निगल लिया. Who can engulf sun? The one who is more fiery than sun, right? सूरज से ज्यादा ताप जिसमें हो वो सूरज को, नहीं तो just think of you cannot touch a stove or a small little fire. He ate the sun. कभी कभी कहते हैं कि सूरज इतना जल्दी कलर क्यों बदल देता है, सुबह सुबह लाल होता है और इमीडिएटली पीला हो जाता है। शायद इसी से सुधा जी वो शब्द आता है लाल पीला होना। लोग गुस्से से लाल पीला हो जाते हैं, वैसे सूरज को देखोगे तो वो भी लाल पीला हो जाता है इमीडिएटली। यू नो व्हाई ही इमीडिएटली चेंजेस? मुझे लगता है अभी भी डरता है कि कहीं उसको फिर वही ऑरेंज समझ के खा ना जाए, इसीलिए जल्दी रंग बदल देता है। Jokes apart, that's was like Vishnu, that तुम मुझे बानर बना के भेजे हो, देखना एक दिन इसी बानर के वजह से तुम अपने पत्नी को प्राप्त करोगे। So we all know that story, right? Wow, how Narad went and the entire drama. And if you remember, I told this entire story in last year Guru Purnima. Took the avatar and how he helped Ram and all those things. शायद याद होगा, बड़ी लंबी कहानी बोला था उस दिन मैंने कि how actually Shiva and Narayan played with Narad. So that was the 11वां Rudra avatar or the Hanuman avatar. Shall I continue or shall we stop here and do the rest next time? इतनी सारी कहानियां याद क्या रखोगे? So shall we stop with the 11th avatar and the rest 8 we will do next time? Or shall we complete all together at one go? Whatever you say. कि एक दिन में बहुत सारे अवतार हो गए, but we still have some time left. I think we can complete that. देखो ये एक ही दिन खत्म करते मुक्त होते, ये अवतार से भी मुक्त होते रहे भाई, तो फिर लेके फिर सोचते रहोगे बाकी अवतार क्या है. So let us get that out also. Then the next avatar that is called as is a Krishna Darshan. There are two related stories to that. One is बड़ा simple था. When Krishna took birth, Shiva came to see him and that is known as the Krishna avatar. But जब राम भी पैदा हुए थे तब भी शिव आए थे उन्हें देखने के लिए, और तब तो एक मदारी बन के आए थे, और सॉरी मदारी बन के तो पहले आए थे जब कृष्ण का समय था, उसके बाद जब आए थे तो वो हाथ देखने मतलब पामिस्ट बन के आए थे, सो जब राम को देखने आए थे. सो इन दिस केस वो कृष्ण दर्शन मतलब जब शिव कृष्ण के दर्शन करने आए थे उसे कृष्ण दर्शन अवतार कहते हैं. बट देयर इज अनदर स्टोरी बिकॉज दैट नेम ऑल्सो इज एसोसिएटेड टू अनदर थिंग, और उसे भी माना जाता है कि वो कृष्ण दर्शन था. देयर वाज ए प्रिंस, मतलब एक राजकुमार था जिसका नाम था कृष्ण दर्शन में, हाँ नभाग, उनका नाम नभाग था, और उसका जो राज्य था ही वाज and when he had to go to the Gurukul, in his absence, his brothers got all the wealth, leaving nothing for Nabhag. नभाग सब कुछ छोड़ के पढ़ाई करने चला जाता है और तब तक वो जब तक वापस आता है उसके जितने भाई थे वो सब कब्जा कर लेते हैं, like they take it up. And when Nabhag came back from Gurukul, he demanded that he should get his fair share of wealth. And then they all advised that he should go and meet their father in order to fix the issue. And then Nabhag said, okay, as you say, he accepted what his brothers advised and went to his father to fix this issue. And his father then told him to go to sage Angiras and was not able to achieve the goal. अंगिरास के पास भेजते कि तू पढ़ाई करने गया और तू जब तक आया तेरे भाई अगर ये सब कुछ ले चुके हैं तो उसके लिए मैं कुछ नहीं कर पाता हूँ, because they are all grown up and I am very old now. So you go to Rishi Angiras and ask him what to do. And then what Angiras did is, Angiras, who was this sage Angiras, उनको भी एक यज्ञ कर रहे थे वो तब। और जब नभाग उनके पास जाता है, he started teaching him more, because he said, because you have gone to the Gurukul to learn and in that you lost the wealth, let me give you more wisdom and knowledge of realizing your own self and the part of liberation. Then अंगिरास क्या करते हैं, उसको सारे रिलीजन के जितने सारे वर्च्यूज हैं उनको सब बताते हैं, और वो यज्ञ का प्राप्ति कैसे होता है, कि एक यज्ञ करके कैसे सारे चीजों का प्राप्ति किया जा सकता है, उसका ज्ञान उन्हें देते हैं। जब नभाग और अंगिरास मिलके जब ये यज्ञ करते हैं, तब शिव स्वयं स्वरूप में he comes in order to test them, because अंगिरास जो यज्ञ करते हैं, उस यज्ञ का जितने भी सब कुछ प्राप्त होता है, मतलब धन धान्य यक्ष वैभव जो प्राप्त होता है, वो सब उसे देने को तैयार थे। तब इनको परीक्षा लेने के लिए शिव अपीयर होते हैं, और उस अपीयरेंस ऑफ शिवा टू टेक द टेस्ट ऑफ अंगिरास एज वेल एज नभाग इज नोन एज कृष्ण दर्शन। देन वहां पे वो उनकी परीक्षा इस तरीके से लेते हैं कि अगर ये जो धन जो तुझे दिया जा रहा है, ये सारे चीजों को ले लिया जाए, आपसे अलग कर दिया जाए, तब भी तू क्या करेगा? What would you choose? Would you choose wealth over God? Would you choose wealth over liberation and all those things? Many questions were put forth to Nabhag, but Nabhag by that time, with the wisdom and the blessings of Angiras and his earlier gurus, by that time he was very clear that he did not wanted all these things. All that he wanted to know his true self. And in that moment, Shiva blessed Nabhag that he would attain salvation in that life itself. And at the same time, that Swarupa that he came in was known as the Krishna Darshan Avatara. So as I said, he does not only come to मतलब बुराई का खत्म करने नहीं आते, कभी कभी परीक्षा लेने भी आते हैं, कभी कभी माया करने भी आते हैं, कभी कभी खेल रचने भी आते हैं. So that was the Krishna Darshan Avatara. Then comes the Vikshuvarya. Vikshuvarya अवतार में क्या होता है? There was a king named Satyarath. एक राजा थे जिनका नाम सत्यरथ था, और वो जिस राज्य के राजा थे उस राज्य का नाम था विदर्भ. और देयर वाज अ फियर्स बैटल विथ ए नेबरिंग कंट्री, मतलब सत्यरथ जो थे उनका एक युद्ध हुआ, एंड द किंग लॉस्ट हिज लाइफ. हिज वाइफ वाज एबल टू सर्वाइव, मींस उनके पत्नी जो थे, शी वाज एबल टू सर्वाइव बाय हाइडिंग इन द फॉरेस्ट. वो जंगल में जाके छिप जाती है और बच जाती है. During this time, his wife was pregnant and gave birth to a son. एक सरयू के पास, means near a pond, she gave a birth to a son in the forest. And in that moment, his wife also died because a crocodile hid inside the pond that attacked her and ate her. The poor child, अभी देखो ना पिता है ना माता है, बस वो बालक रह गया है. The poor child kept crying in hunger and thirst until a beggar heard the cry of the child. But he said, like this very moment, that beggar that heard this, he came near it. And when he looked at the child, by looking at the child, he said, like, it is so divine, it looks so divine. But it was not ready to take it. And this beggar was also a female. It was not a male beggar, it was a female. But she just waited there, and he said, I don't know whose kid is this, so how can I take it? And in that moment, it is said, like Shiva, out of his benevolence, because both Satyarath and his wife were ardent devotee of Shiva, as they both were not there, Shiva appeared and asked that beggar to take that kid and adopt it. And the child was named as Dharmagupta. This form of Lord Shiva appearing before the beggar and the child is known to be the Vishwavarya Avatara, because when he appeared in this Vishwavarya Avatara, he also blessed the beggar that you will not only get a great life by adopting this child, but you will also achieve liberation in this life. But again, then you have to listen to the story of who that beggar was. Because this female beggar was an ardent devotee of Shiva in her past lives. But due to some wrong deeds, she became a beggar, yet that consciousness about Shiva was also there. And as all her karmas were done by that time, Shiva appeared and gave the boon to both the kid as well as the beggar. So the beggar got wealth as well as liberation at the same time. And that's why I say, you should not just be a beggar. You should be a king and at the same time get liberation. So is it wrong what I say? It's not wrong. It's just the way it is. You should be that way. So finally, comes the 14th or the Kirateshwara. And I believe like Kirateshwar का रूप तो आप सब जानते होंगे. ये कहानी उसके साथ जुड़ा हुआ है महाभारत में, जब अर्जुन पशुपात ये अस्त्र को प्राप्त करने जाता है. So when he was in the forest and he was deeply meditating, there was a boar who came out and he attacked. And in order to save himself, Arjuna took the bow and arrow. And before Arjuna could shoot, there was another one who present, and both shot the arrow at the same time. And that was no one else but Shiva, who appeared as Kirateshwar. And he also shot the boar. And they were coming into a fight like who actually killed the boar, who was the first one to shot. And later on, Arjuna came to realize that no one can be a better archer than him except Lord Shiva. And when he bowed down to him, Shiva came into his own avatara, and that is where he gave the Pashupat Astra to Arjuna. And that avatara is known as the Kirateshwar avatara. And then comes after Kirateshwar, it is Avadhuta, the most amazing one that I just simply love to. Someday I would like to tell this entire story, and we will start doing some processes of him also. What is that Avadhuta avatar? Avadhut kaun hai? The Avadhuta avatar is none other than the Tatraya. Most amazing one. So, Avadhuta avatar, ये actually again it comes in the Vedic literature में तो नहीं है, लेकिन पुराण में वर्णित है कि ये वैदिक कहानी है. When Lord Shiva took the form of a Avadhuta avatar. किसके लिए? Lord Indra along with Lord Brihaspati and other gods were traveling to Mount Kailash to pray and get darshan of Lord Shiva. But before they were going, they had a talk among them. That हम कभी भी आ सकते हैं, हम कभी भी शिव से मिल सकते हैं, शिव को कभी भी देख सकते हैं, शिव को कभी भी बुला सकते हैं. So just think of what happened into them. The ego came into existence. कि वो तो हमारे अधीन है टाइप. क्या है, वो बैठा रहता है, हमको कभी भी जाए हम देख लेंगे. So that's how. But in that moment when they were thinking in that way, Shiva took a avatar of a Avadhuta and sat there as a beggar. एक भिक्षा के मांगने वाले जैसा वहां बैठ जाता है. So जब वो भिक्षा मांगने जैसे वहां बैठ जाता है, तब ये लॉर्ड इंद्र by seeing that beggar जो रास्ता बंद करके बैठा था, पहले कहता है हट जा मेरे रास्ते से, तू नहीं जानता क्या मैं कौन हूं. See, out of ego, Indra is saying, don't you know who I am? You move away from this place, you beggar. And then he did not move. Then what he did? इंद्र अपना वज्र का प्रयोग करते हैं. जैसे ही वज्र का प्रयोग करता है, शिव उसे तोड़ देते हैं. He breaks it. And when he breaks that, then Indra is now able to realize that who has the power to break it? वज्र को कौन तोड़ सकता है? And that very moment he realized that that is not just a normal beggar. And they all bowed down, and then Shiva appeared in his avatar. Because there is a lot many stories which is actually related to Ganesha and the cursing, and there is a lot of story to this actually, but for some other day. So here when like they recognized Shiva, and when they bowed down to him, they apologized him. And then because Shiva appeared in this avatar as a beggar, as a renunciate, this avatar is also known as the Avadhuta avatar. But Avadhuta avatar has another story that has complete narration about Dattatreya. So किसी दिन दत्तात्रेय के बारे में कैसे भी मुझे करना ही है. So we'll talk about that. The next one comes as the Sureshwara, the 16th. The 16th avatar, again, as it not in a sequential fashion, but in my count, it is the 16th avatar as the Sureshwara. The Sureshwara avatar begins when one man named Upamanyu, जो कि व्याघ्रपाद के पुत्र थे. Upamanyu Vyaghapad. Upamanyu was the son of Vyaghapad. And one day, when Upamanyu cried for milk in his childhood, his mother told him that he could only get the milk from Shiva and no one else. वो कहती है कि अगर तुझे मिल्क चाहिए, so go pray for Shiva. क्योंकि उनका अभिषेक दूध से ही होता है, तो उन्हीं से मांग, हमसे मत मांग. Now just think, this mother appears a little bit shrewd here. That she could have given milk to that kid, but she is saying, no, I'm not going to give it. If you really want it, go and ask Shiva. And when this is said, आपने अगर ध्रुव की कहानी सुनी है, तो ध्रुव भी वही कह रहे थे ना, वो अपने पिता के पास बैठना चाहते थे उनके, बट वो क्या कहते हैं, no, you cannot sit with me. Then what did the mother said? अरे यहाँ क्या बैठता, इस राजा के पास क्या बैठता, जाके विष्णु के पास बैठ. So he, like the entire story, how he went and he got that. Because his mother also told him that you go and you find your way, you find the lap of the Lord, not just a lap of the king or your father. उसी तरीके से यहाँ पे भी उनकी माँ कहती है कि if you need milk, go and ask Shiva. Don't ask me. And after that, by listening to this, what happened? Upamanyu listened to his mother and went to the Himalayas to do deep penance and pray to Lord Shiva. And his penance became so serious. देखो छोटा सा बालक था, लेकिन his penance became so serious that it started generating heat that burned down all the 3 universes. भूर भुवः स्वः को जलने लगा, इतनी गर्मी पैदा हुई उसके रुदन और उसके ताप से. Can you see the kind of energy that is residing in each and every one of us? If we really do the sadhana, it has even the power to destroy the entire creation. Then who must we all be? But at that moment, like when the 3 worlds started generating heat and it burned the 3 worlds, that moment Shiva appeared in disguise as Indra and Parvati appeared as Indrani. They came to test him. Shiva Indra ban ke aaye, Parvati Indrani ban ke aayi. And then they tested, they told Upamanyu that he should stop doing all this penance, ये सब करने की जरूरत नहीं है. They even told that they would fulfill all his dreams. जो भी उसे चाहिए वो सब कुछ देने को तैयार है. So you just stop doing the meditation on Shiva. जरूरत नहीं है शिव का पूजा करने का. But Upamanyu said, he just did not said anything. He became furious and he attacked them. छोटा सा बच्चा वो उनको मारने को तैयार है. तुम मेरे शिव के बारे में ऐसा कैसे कह सकते हो? तुम कौन हो मुझे रोकने वाले? I don't need anything from you. I only need one thing. And I need a glass of milk or a lota of milk from Shiva, and I don't need anything else. You run away. By seeing that kind of devotion and dedication, Shiva and Parvati appeared in their real avatar, and pleased with him, they both revealed their true identity and blessed them that he will always stay in the vicinity, means in the close vicinity of Parvati. उपमन्यु को पार्वती के साथ रहने का आशीर्वाद दिया गया कि ये भी तेरी माता है और आज के बाद ये तेरा देखभाल करेगी. Now just think of a small little child doing penance and getting this. And this avatar, because Shiva took the avatar of Indra, this name is known as the Sureshwara. So this beautiful avatar of Shiva. More than that, just not the Sureshwara. The more beauty that I love about this story is about Upamanyu. That because of that small little child's desire for a glass of milk, he can shake up all the 3 worlds and the Lord of Lords can appear in front of him and he can get the boon to stay with them forever. Now just think of the power of a glass of milk. Why do you put milk on Shiva? क्यों दूध चढ़ाते हो? अब समझ में आया क्यों दूध चढ़ाया जाता है? क्योंकि उपमन्यु ने सिर्फ एक छोटे से ग्लास दूध के लिए शिव को प्राप्त किया था, तो हम कहते हैं कि हम ही यह आपको चढ़ा लेते हैं, आप हमें प्राप्त हो जाओ. That's where the prachalan of putting milk on Shiva came into existence. समझ में आया? got, why you pour milk on Shiva? और एल्स शिव को तो जल से ही प्राप्त किया जा सकता है, उनको किसी भी चीज की जरूरत नहीं है। लेकिन ये दूध चढ़ाने की प्रथा उपमन्यु से शुरू होती है। नाउ कम्स द 17th, just 3 more to go, सुनर्तका। सुनर्तक अवतार कब हुआ था? जब पार्वती से विवाह करने हेतु शिव गए उनसे हाथ मांगने। Now Parvati did a lot of penance, and when lot of penance has been done, Shiva appeared and said, okay, I agree that I will marry you. Then Shiva goes back, and when he goes back, he said, I gave the word to Parvati, but what about his family? How should I approach? Vishnu appears to help him. विष्णु कहते हैं कि इसको तो वर दे दिए, लेकिन उसके माता पिता का भी तो सम्मति चाहिए आपको. यू शुड गेट द yes a nod yes from their parent also. So शिव कहते करूं तो कैसे करूं? I don't know how to go and ask because I have never asked anything as such earlier. तो विष्णु कहते काम करते हैं, आप ना डायरेक्ट इस रूप में मत जाओ. You go as a singer and a dancer, and they will like the qualities. They will call you inside the palace, and when they call you inside the palace, they will ask you what do you want. क्या चाहिए तुम्हें, कितना धन दौलत जो चाहिए, इतना अच्छा गाना गाते हो, इतना अच्छा नृत्य करते हो, तुम्हें क्या चाहिए? तब क्या करना, तब बोलना कि तुम्हारे बेटी का हाथ चाहिए, मुझे धन दौलत नहीं चाहिए. And then Shiva also did the same thing by listening to Vishnu. He took the form of a dancer and a singer. He came with उनका डमरू बजाते हुए गाना गाते हुए आते हैं, और ये डमरू और गाना बजता है, उसको सुन के पार्वती मोहित, वो पूरा शहर मोहित हो जाता है. मैनावती सुन के बोलती है कौन है, उसको लेके आओ. And he was called inside the palace and they said okay perform, and then Shiva danced in front of them, sang in front of them. और जब मैनावती फिर कहते हैं अच्छा इसके बाद क्या, then he says what do you want, हम राजा के घर से है, तुम्हें क्या चाहिए, तुम्हें क्या मांगते हो, मांग लो. then ये कहते हैं मैं एक ही चीज मांगता हूँ, तुम्हारी बेटी का हाथ मांगता हूँ. And we all know that very moment Mainavati became fierce. How dare you ask this? Then Himalaya Parvat bhi aate, wo bhi kehte kya pooch rahe ho? And then later on they all realized that it was all drama of Shiva, because Vishnu also appeared. He said, don't you realize who he is? तब फिर शिव अपने स्वरूप में आते हैं. तब वो हिमालय खुद कहते, हिम जो राजा थे वो खुद कहते कि ये स्वरूप में आने की क्या जरूरत है, आप अगर अपने स्वयं के स्वरूप में आ गए होते तब भी हम एक्सेप्ट कर लेते थे. Then Shiva looks towards Vishnu. Vishnu says, don't you remember what happened last time when you went in this rupa of your own self? वहां लोग बेहोश हो गए थे तुम्हें देख के. So I didn't wanted all these people to fade down. So that's why I said that go in a very decorative way. And that's how you came. Anyways, they have agreed now. Because you see all the drama that is there in this. तो वो बिल्कुल कहते हैं ना कि आपका जो मित्र होता है ना, आपको ये सब ऐसे सब बुद्धिवान काम आपके मित्र ही देते हैं आपको. तू ये पहन के जा, ये कर, ये दे, वो दे, कौन बताता है ये सब चीजें आपको? So can you see the beautiful connection between these two people? कभी ये उसको छेड़ते, कभी वो इनको. And that is how this rupa of Sunartaka came into existence. And finally after that they agreed and Shiva got married to Parvati. Then comes the Brahmachari avatar. ये ब्रह्मचारी अवतार फिर अगेन गोज बैक टू द इमोलेशन ऑफ सती. दक्ष के यज्ञ के बाद जब सती took birth as the daughter of Himalayas and worship Lord Shiva, तब शिव क्या करते हैं, पार्वती जब तीव्र तपस्या करती है तब शिव आते हैं ना उसका परीक्षा लेने के लिए, और कहते हैं कि शिव ढोंगी है, शिव ये है, शिव वो है. And then he says, do you know, उसकी पहली पत्नी जल के मर गई थी, कितना बुरा आदमी होगा. And he told all the bad things about Shiva. मतलब खुद आके खुद की बुराई करना. पार्वती और गुस्से में आ गए और ज्यादा बोले तो तुझे ही जला दूंगी मैं इस बार. लास्ट टाइम सती जली थी, इस बार तू जलेगा. And in that moment, by seeing the devotion and whatever way he wanted to test Parvati, she was not moving, and then finally Shiva appeared in his original avatar. And you remember I narrated another beautiful story when he appeared as a yogi and ब्रह्मचारी के रूप में आते हैं और कमल का फूल मांगते हैं, that I don't know how to swim, how can I go and take the lotus. And you remember that story, जब पार्वती फिर इवनिंग में बाहर आती है and he acts as if he is drowning and Parvati goes and he says, how can I touch a brahmachari, and if I touch you then how can I be, and then he says, to save a life it is much better rather than just to getting married to Shiva. So she gave the hand and in that moment both their hand met in the water. इसीलिए उसे पानी ग्रहण कहते हैं, क्योंकि शिव ने पार्वती के हाथ से पानी ग्रहण कर दिया और पार्वती ने शिव के हाथ से पानी ग्रहण कर दिया. That quality that is still continued in marriages, उसे पानी ग्रहण कहते हैं. So that's the entire story of when Shiva came as a brahmachari, and that is known as the brahmachari avatar. To test Parvati and again to accept her. And that's how the story goes on. Then comes the final one, the Yaksheshwara avatar. Yaksheshwara avatar tab hota hai jab, see, during this Samudra Manthan, how many avatars have been taken? This Yaksheshwara avatar also comes into the same time frame of this year, like Samudra Manthan. After drinking the Amrit, all the devatas felt like we have become someone now. We are equivalent to all the three devs. Because you saw one thing, that all the devatas were running behind the Amrit, but none of the three devs were running behind that. Because they are already immortals. They are beyond time. But these are mortals. देवता के बारे में किसी दिन व्याख्या करूंगा. देवता वो है जिसका जन्म भी होता है और उसका मृत्यु भी होता है. देवता कैसे बन सकते हो उसका मार्ग भी सारा प्रशस्त बताया गया है. हाउ कैन यू बिकम ए गॉड. और ऐसा नहीं है कि आप नहीं बने. You have become that. You have been an Indra, you have been an ant. You have to taken birth of everything. लेकिन जिस दिन व्याख्या करेंगे उस दिन बात करते हैं उसके लिए. So here what happened when they had that kind of mindset that we are the most powerful, we are the greatest, there is none like us. In that moment, Shiva appeared as Yaksheshwara. And you know what he did? He gave a small little strand of grass in front of them. एक छोटा सा दूब घास का एक छोटा सा तिनका उनके सामने रखता है और कहता है इसे तोड़ के बताओ तुम अगर इतने बड़े हो तो. If you are so powerful, if you are so great, just break this grass. And all the devatas tried. They could not move the grass. They could not lift the grass. They could not break the grass. अग्नि जला नहीं पाई, वायु उसे उड़ा नहीं पाया, शस्त्र उसे छेद नहीं पाया. वो कौन है जिसे शस्त्र काट नहीं सकता, जल डुबा नहीं सकता, अग्नि जला नहीं सकती, शस्त्र उसे काट नहीं सकते? वो कौन है? क्या कहा है विष्णु ने, कृष्ण ने? ना छिजंती शस्त्राणि ना जलति पावकः. किसके बारे में कहा गया? तो शिव कहते हैं तुम देवता हो सकते हो लेकिन आत्मा के परे नहीं हो, क्योंकि जो आत्मा परमात्मा के हाथ से जुड़ा है वो देवता से भी बड़ा है. That's why the one who has realized himself, even देवतास की शक्ति भी उसके सामने क्षुद्र दिखती है. It becomes small in front of him. देवता का सिंहासन मतलब इंद्र का आसन भी उसके लिए कुछ नहीं है जिसने अपने स्वरूप को प्राप्त कर लिया है. That devatas cannot do even anything to you. ये वो दिखाने के लिए उन्होंने ये स्वरूप धारण किया जिसे कहते हो यक्षेश्वर अवतार. एक छोटा सा तिनका, लेकिन उसमें से भी सीखने वाली बात क्या, क्योंकि सारे देवी देवता अपना अस्त्र शस्त्र सब प्रयोग करके देख लिए, उसे कुछ नहीं हुआ. And then Shiva says, this is my creation. So when you are also that, whose creation are you? Or rather, who are you connected to? And in true self, who are you? And in all these 19 stories, whose stories were told? In all these 19 avatars, whose stories were reflected? In all these 19 stories, whose qualities were talked about? In all these 19 stories, about whom it is told that despite you took a birth as a human, as a prince, as a king, as a beggar, still your liberation is possible. किसकी कहानी थी? सब के सब आपकी ही कहानी है. और अगर ये सब के सब आप ही की कहानी है तो ये अवतार किसके हैं फिर? मेरे हिसाब से सारे के सारे अवतार भी आप ही के होंगे. बैठ के हंस रहे हो. So with all these stories, time is 7:07 in my clock. And the count is 5:1. What does that mean? ये 7 चक्र, 7 जन्म और ये 51 लोग क्या कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे? मतलब शिव के जागने का समय हो गया है लगता है. Because all these things are coming in alignment with it. So may you all be blessed. May you all realize your true self. And finally, a statement that came while I was talking, and these statements became so profound that I would like to share that. ये एक sentence है, but just understand the depth of these statements. Only 2-3 चीजें बताऊंगा अभी, उसके बाद we'll go off. Might be this should be the takeaways. Might this should become a mantra for your life. How many of you cry when you listen to a song, or you think about the God, or you take a name of some particular deity? जैसे ही आप कोई भजन सुनते हो, कीर्तन सुनते हो, आप रोने लगते हो. You look at a deity, you start crying. You just are sitting and you are crying. Means cry baby जैसे हो गए. मतलब आप खुद कंप्लेन करो, मैं ये रो क्यों रही हूं इतना. ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग हैं हमारे पास. Like they think they are crying babies. No, 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 no. Let me give you a way out of that. इसको बड़े ध्यान से सुनो, चाहे तो लिख के रख लेना इसे. I cry when I am the most happiest. मैं तभी रोता हूं जब मैं सबसे ज्यादा खुश होता हूं. और मैं तब हंसता हूं जब सबसे ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम होता है. ना इसे ये क्या है? ये प्रॉब्लम के समय पे हंस कैसे सकते हो? प्रॉब्लम के समय कैसे हंस सकता हूं? ऐसे हंस सकता हूं. मैं बताता हूं. Whenever there is a situation or a problem appears or arrives, मेरा विश्वास उसके ऊपर है कि वो ठीक कर देगा. I have the faith and believe that it will take care of it, and I laugh at my problems. When I am sad, I laugh. ऐसे ड्रामा चल रहा है, वही ठीक करेगा. So I laugh at my, when I am sad, I laugh. But when I am happy, I cry. Why? कि कितना करुणा है तुझ में. How much benevolence is there in you. और मैंने एक लाइन लिखा है प्रीति जी. It says, हिंदी में एक लाइन लिखा हूं. मैं कहता हूं कि तेरा बखान क्या करूं मैं शब्दों से. तेरा बखान में क्या करूं शब्दों से, क्योंकि अक्सर शब्द गरीब लगते हैं तेरे कृपा के अमीरी के आगे. What should I speak about you through words? Because words look like a beggar in front of the kingliness of what all things you have given me. क्या बखान करूं मैं तेरा शब्दों से. शब्द अक्सर गरीब लगते हैं तेरे कृपा के अमीरी के आगे. So when I'm so happy, I start crying. अरे कितना कुछ दिया है तूने. What all you have given to me. So I want to take a promise that from this day on, my Shiva won't cry for Sati. Not for the world. But from this day on, I will only cry when I'm happy. मेरे आंसू तभी निकलेंगे जब मैं खुश हूं. Because those are not drops of tear anymore. Those are the expression of my true Atman, that I devote it to my Lord. मैं इतना खुश हूं कि मैं रोने लगता हूं. That's the way I show my gratitude. आज के बाद कभी भी रोना, तब रोना जब खुश हो. When you are happy, then cry. I will be more than happy to see that. And in true self, that would be a way of living. Yes or no? And when problem appears, laugh loud. Because you know, कुछ भी नहीं होने वाला, सब ठीक हो जाएगा. Everything will be taken care of anyways. He is there. I laugh at my problems and I cry in my happiness. Will you do that? At least कोशिश करोगे? You will only cry when you are happy. अच्छा, जो हमारे cry babies थे, क्यों रोते हो? अब देखो, अब आपको समझ में आएगा कि आपके अश्रु क्यों बहते. Why you cry? It is not because you are sad. You are so grateful. You are so overflowing with gratitude that just by listening to one word, just by seeing something, just by hearing a name, it flows out. ये रोना नहीं कहते उसे. It is not called crying. And I say, ये तो अंतरात्मा की शुद्धिकरण का प्रक्रिया है. शायद उसी तरीके से आप अपने आप को स्वच्छ बना दे रहे हो. जैसे बाहर से पानी डाल के नहा लेते हो ना, that's how you are bathing from within. I think breathing with gratitude, breathing with grace, breathing with that divinity within you. और अब से जब रोगे ना, हंसना साथ में. क्यों? जब धूप और बारिश साथ में हो, तब इंद्रधनुष निकलता है. So when you cry and laugh at the same time, you are so happy that you are crying, let the Indradhanush appear. So कब रोगे? जब खुश हो. कब हंसोगे? जब दुखी हो. And your mind will be so confused. बोला हो क्या रहा है एक्चुअली? ये क्या, जब मैं रोना चाहिए हंस रहा है, जब हंसना चाहिए तब रो रहा है. माइंड कंफ्यूज हो जाएगा. देन इट विल नॉट डाइवर्ट यू. वो बोलेगा सच में पागल हो चुका है, इसको छोड़ दो. लीव यू. It will not trouble you anymore. You remember that story of that betal, that I have put that bamboo in the pillar in the between, go up and down on that. उसके ऊपर नीचे होता रहे. And that's how you do it. That is one thing. You will be happy when you are sad and you will cry when you are happy. दूसरा, this thing might just melt everything away if you can tell this word along with me. अगर आप ये शब्दों को मेरे साथ बोल दोगे ना, आपके अंदर क्या बदल जाएगा आपको पता नहीं है. Are you ready? एक बार बोल के देखना इस शब्द को. कई बार लोग मुझे पूछते हैं आप ऐसे कैसे हो? How are you like this? मैं सिर्फ और सिर्फ एक ही चीज कहता हूं कि when I walk, मैं जब चलता भी हूं ना, मैं उसके भरोसे से चलता हूं, क्योंकि मैं उसका भरोसा हूं. मैं उसके भरोसे से चलता हूं क्योंकि मैं उसका भरोसा हूं. और मुझे इस बात का घमंड है कि मैं उसका गुमान हूं. मुझे इस बात का घमंड है कि मैं उसका गुमान हूं. I am so proud because I am his proudness. और अगर आप ये बोलोगे ना एक बार अंदर, और जब चलोगे ना, when you start walking and you just say these words to yourself, I can assure you, if you tell it out of your heart, you cannot stop yourself from crying. आप बिना रोए रुक नहीं सकते, क्योंकि एक क्षण में ऐसा लगेगा कि एक जो दीवार था उसके और मेरे बीच में वो टूट गया. इट ब्रोक. मुझे इस बात का घमंड है कि मैं उसका गुमान हूं, मैं उसका भरोसा हूं. The one statement that I speak. मैं कुछ हूं नहीं हूं, लेकिन मैं उसका विश्वास हूं. I am the faith and trust of him. और ये क्यों कह सकता हूं? क्योंकि मुझे उसको मुझ पे भरोसा है. उसने मुझे प्राण दे रखा है. I am still breathing because उसका भरोसा है मुझ पे. He still believes in me and that's why I'm breathing. नहीं तो भरोसा नहीं होता तो गिर गया होता अब तक. So can I say that I am the trust of Shiva? Absolutely, because I'm still walking, I'm still breathing. उसके भरोसे से मैं चलता हूं, इसीलिए मैं उसका भरोसा हूं. और मुझे इस बात का घमंड है कि मैं उसका भरोसा हूं. और इस घमंड के बारे में कारण अगर मैं टूट भी जाता हूं, मैं गिर भी जाता हूं, मैं गिरने को तैयार हूं, क्योंकि तब मैं गिरूंगा उस तरह जैसे एक बीज गिरता है पेड़ से. अपने आप को धस लेता है गहराई अंधकार में, लेकिन अपने आप को तोड़ देता है, लेकिन उसके बाद उससे असंख्य बीज बनते हैं. मैं अगर गिरा उसके घमंड से तो भी मैं असंख्य बीज बना दूंगा. एंड दैट्स हाउ आई लिव. हर हर महादेव. राधे राधे. कृष्ण कृष्ण. जिस नाम से बुलाना है बुला लो. वो दिखेगा कुछ और, बोलेगा कुछ और, क्योंकि दोनों एक ही है. So I believe, like, although it might have been a stretched one, a lot of talks might be boring also, but at the end what I said, take it with you. Now when you walk, किसके भरोसे से चलते हो? और किसका भरोसा आपके ऊपर अभी भी है कि वो आपको चला रहा है? क्योंकि शव को शिव धारण कर रखा है और मेरा शिव कहीं और नहीं, यही है, यही है. और खाली यही नहीं है, यही है, यही है. It is not just here, it is it. आओ जाओ, रो धो, जो करना है करो, लेकिन you are not crying out of sadness, you are now crying out of happiness because you broke something again, just like the seed breaks itself. But when it breaks, a new life appears. When it broke within you, something new appears. I broke, Shiva appeared. Because my appearance is his disappearance and my disappearance his appearance. मैं नहीं हूं. I don't exist. What exists is that. So thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for, yes Abaji, for seeing yourself in that beautiful way. अपने आप को एक नए स्वरूप में देखना. अपने आप को उनके, किसने कहा था कि हम शिव के 19 रूपों के बारे में बात करने वाले? हम तो आपके नए नए रूपों के बारे में बात करना चाहते थे. इसी व्याख्या से अगर आपके अंदर वो, अगर शिवत्व का जागरण होता है, अगर आपके अंदर वो परमात्मा जागृत हो जाता है, तो मुझे लगता है कि आज का जो 2-2.5 घंटे का जो मैंने बिना रुके बिना थके जो बात की, उसका फल मिल गया हमें. So thank you everyone. And as I said, we are all no different than each other. We're all the same. Because we are all the pride of Shiva. हाँ, ये अलग बात है अलीवा जी की, मैं और एक चीज भी टी शर्ट के ऊपर लिखवाने वाला हूँ, भगवान के बिगड़े हुए बच्चे. और एक भी लिखने वाला हूँ, भगवान का लाडला, भगवान की लाडली. Why not have that kind of t-shirts where we write all these things? टी-शर्ट के ऊपर लिखा था भगवान का लाडला है, भगवान की लाडली है. बोले क्या है? और उसके ऊपर किसी कोई थोड़े बदमाश बच्चे तो ये लिख लो, भगवान का बिगड़ा हुआ बच्चा. Enjoy. You see, that's how your life should be. You are so blatant in saying that you are Shiva, and yet you are so silent within you that it is within you. और जिसके अंदर शिव समा सकता है वो कौन हो सकता है भाई? कोई बड़ा ही होना चाहिए ना. फिर तो आप कौन हो? आप कहते हो आपके अंदर शिव है. Think on that. So till we meet again in our Q&A session. चिदंबर रहस्य कर लेना अपने आप से. आज नए चिदंबर के दर्शन हो जाएंगे आपको। कैसे? बिकॉज अभी जिस चीजों को आपने सुना है, जिस चीजों को माना है, आज शायद वो बैठ के मंत्र जाप नहीं करे आप, लेकिन जो शब्द मैंने कहे कुछ क्षण पहले, दैट वुड बी इनफ टू अवेक दैट विद इन यू। ठीक है? सो थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर टाइम, योर एफर्ट, फॉर नॉट जस्ट ट्राइंग टू बिकम शिवा बट बीइंग शिवा। थैंक यू सो मच। अहम ब्रह्मास्मि तत्त्वमसि। हर हर महादेव।